started.
It started?
Yeah, we're 15 seconds in already.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that. I'm looking for something magic to happen.
Ta-da!
But
It's
nobody,
magical.
nobody saw the magic on this end, just out there.
Magic.
Yeah, we decided to push the button early because, I don't know, we're sitting here. We're not rushing around trying to get ready. So we're actually
Here, scooch this way just a smidge.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like scooting in this chair because it doesn't scoot anymore. There, it's like the wheels are.
All right. Well, I better start it
Not
in the
nice.
official-like way.
Yeah, starting the official like.
Hello,
I don't
everyone.
wanna be over
It's
here.
Saturday night. Welcome to the stream. I'm Kim of Kim Fixes Things, and I'm here with Buff Del Campo. You already know that because you clicked on the channel. But what are you doing?
I don't like being over there because then my face gets dark.
Oh my.
So I'm scooting you this way.
All right. Man.
She's the center of the attention anyways. I'm off this way. I don't know why it's like that. The camera's pointed that way a little bit.
And we are here to entertain you. There really is no other good reason to be here. Not money, not fame, not power of any sort. We could work on our car in utter isolation and darkness. But instead, we turn on our stream and invite you in, and you invite us in, and we all chit-chat and whatnot, and it's all right. So thank you for being here. If you are here for the live, welcome. Please communicate with us, and we will communicate back. If you are here afterwards, we are almost always live on Tuesday night at 7 Central Time. And when we are live on a Tuesday night, we are in our indoor studio, and we have a magical green screen. So we are here, and behind us, we can have pictures of anything we like. And the chat just calls out random topics, and we talk about them. And I try and Google pictures of the things that we're talking about to keep it all kind of visually interactive. That's what separates us from the podcast, is that we have visual enhancements.
Interactiveness.
Oh, One-Eyed Cat is taping off some rims. Tavo is joining us from the other side of the world.
You know, that's what I was sitting there today, and I thought, I wonder where he is from us. So I pulled up the map, and I was going to do a line to see how far it was.
I think you could do math.
And you know what? Well, no, because it'll show the Great Circle route. And so I was going to do that, and I fell asleep. I slept. Man, did I sleep.
How is that entertaining?
Well, we went to a...
Tell us about your nap. No, tell us about what we did.
We went to a car...
You'll notice that there is no car.
You know why? Because we drove it to a car show.
We removed it from the garage so we could drive it.
And we took it to... First thing we did was took it to a car wash.
To bust off all the dust and bird poops.
I made video of her washing the car. She's washing the car, and the guy in the next stall over comes over, and he's looking at it, and he goes, "What is that, a Fairlane?"
And he said, yes, it's a Fairlane.
I told him the truth. I said, it's a Dodge Dart. Oh, a Dodge Dart. And he went to back to washing his new Kia, and drove off. It's pretty good. Never heard anybody thought it was a Fairlane. I'm a little dark over here. I don't know why. Okay, that's the light side. This is the dark side. We're here from the dark side.
I have the bucket covered up because it was too bright.
Yeah, no, I think we need a little light over here on that thing. I don't know. We'll mess with it a little in the future. I think I can be seen. I just look like I'm off the edge.
I could switch buckets to a brighter bucket.
Bucket's really low. It's lighting up my foot. I don't know. We'll see. Oh.
The lighting is better than yesterday when we started. Yesterday when we started, it was bright in the background and dark of our faces. And we're working on, making the studio better all the time so that it's...
You know what it is?
gooder.
the dart's gone, and it was a lot darker. Oh, on that side of you,
Oh yes.
and that's the
You know what
camera's.
else? We have those bright lights
Oh,
right there.
maybe you can kill that one. How hard can you kill just one? Oh, there's two of them there.
I can move them out of view.
Yeah, I don't know. Because you look pretty good. I don't know. Don't know.
We're working on it.
We're just working on it. I'm sorry I'm
Everybody's-
babbling about just
Everybody's busy. Tell them
Yes.
about the car show.
We went to a car show, and there's everything there from old cars. Like the one on the thumbnail was that 48 Chevy, and Kim hadn't seen one of those license plates from Tennessee that looks like the state of Tennessee. She goes, "You should use that for a thumbnail." And I went over there and talked to the guy, and he goes, "Yeah, sure, use it as a thumbnail."
And
So I
look
did.
what we found at the swap meet
No, that's my Studebaker
for
front end.
$1.
No, she's full of it. But she pulled that away from the wall here.
We found it at our booth at the swap meet for
So-
$1, and no one bought it. We had to bring it back home.
I'd say everything from late 40s cars. Oh, there was that Ford truck that was probably from the 37 maybe, 36, 37, something like that.
The red one that was like a milk
Nah,
truck.
the light green one that I was going to go over and see, but I didn't.
Oh yeah.
And then
well,
all
it
the way
was
up, a lot of newer cars that I call newer, like the Mitsubishi 3000 GTs, and all the way up, somebody had a Tesla Cybertruck there.
Well, it was the local town car.
It was a
show.
local town car show and swap meet.
So it
So
was everything.
it was interesting, and I sat by the car mostly, and all these people came by, and a lot of
people like the car.
older people knew what it was, and it was three young guys walking around. Like, what were they, like 17, 18, something like that?
Yeah.
And they knew what it was, and they came by several times and looked at it, and I guess their father or uncle or somebody was into Mopars, so they were really aware of what everything Mopar was. They knew it was a slant six. That was kind of interesting. Three young guys that knew what it was. So anyway, interesting day. And then I came home and won a carburetor online.
From 2 Hacks.
Two Hacks put up a picture of a carburetor. Does anybody know what this is? He bought it for $1 at a swap meet. So I knew what it was. I said, that's an Autolite 4100. Nobody else. Somebody said it was from an AMC. A bunch of like stupid answers, just trying to be funny. So I won the carburetor. So he's gonna bring it to No Name Nationals, and I got a Autolite 4100, which is a carburetor I really like. So that's pretty cool. And let's see. So Olive's here. How are you? And Dougster, we have no fear now.
Hey, Dougster!
Dougster
Welcome
is
to
here.
the stream.
He took our fear away.
I didn't have any fear yet that I was aware of. Well, I do have a fear of failure, but I also have a fear of success, so they kind of counterbalance each other.
Why do you have a fear of
Can
success?
anyone relate to that? Oh,
Tavo,
honey.
look at that. He did it for me. 15,858
Ooh, that's a lot.
clicks, as they would say in U.S. military, or 9,000, almost 10,000 miles. And that probably looks like a big arc across the. Well, what I really wanted to see was which way the arc, how it went across. Oh, that's kind of bright in my eyes, but it does brighten my face up a bit. Oh, that's really bright in my eyes, but that's all right. I'll deal with it.
You'll adjust.
I will adjust.
I'm trying to find my broom so I can sweep out my corner that I'm...
Oh yeah, that area of the shop. Well, there's the push broom leaning on the white cabinet.
Yeah, I can't get in the corner.
Yeah, that's not the right broom.
Here's the broom that I need.
And I'm a fanatic about brooms being stored with the fuzzy part
I
up.
mean, if you want the broom not to be destroyed, you kind of have to be. So,
But they get left the other way, and then they get
and
permanently
then
down.
I get yelled at.
I go, why is this upside down?
I feel like an
Well, you
idiot.
know,
Yellow-
every shop I've worked in, people store brooms, and they
Right
just
way.
do it. They put them on the bristles down,
Oh,
and then when I pick the broom up, it's like all curved on the end, and you can't use it for anything. It's like,
yeah. That's
who did this? I don't know. So I'm a fanatic about the brooms being stored. I guess I do it upside down. I don't know. Tim's here. Just finished dinner. Streak and corn on the cob. I bet that's steak. Steak and corn on the cob from the grill. Had the brats and corn last night. Man, I'm hungry, Cam. I didn't eat. You know what? We came home from the car show and I ate a couple of Roma tomatoes, and then I fell asleep. Yeah.
Well, I can't do a lot for you.
Oh, and I brought my caffeine drink up here.
I can't do a lot for you, but I brought you a cheese stick.
You are so good to me.
What do you do without me? Probably starve to death.
I hang my brooms. You over here, Tavo. I've got two things that go out, and the brooms hang on there. But I would rather see them upside down on the ground than right side up on the ground. And preferably, I'd rather see them hanging. Yes. This is One-Eyed Cat. Retracted a message, and I didn't see what it was. So I missed that. I'm sorry. But she didn't want me to see it anyway, I guess. And once again, I have a cheese stick, a rubbery food, but it's so good. Oh, Kim, this is good. Mostly because I'm hungry.
Mostly because you're. It makes sense.
Nice, Tim. I had a hot dog craving, so got hot dogs. Did you make a hot dog cooker yet with 2 nails and a cord?
For the noise.
Dragging a table across the ground, making squeaky noises. Sorry, steak. The keyboard on this iPad is a glass screen. Doesn't work well with dry fingers up here at altitude. Me trying to, every once in a while get on a live on my phone, and I almost can't make comments because it's a tiny little thing, and then I swipe. My phone's set up to swipe, and you can imagine it makes a lot of mistakes. Or maybe I make the mistakes. Or it auto-corrects into mistakes. She's wheeling stuff around. Kim, please stop using the shop broom as a scooter. What?
Got a scooter.
Oh, she does. Sounds like he's saying you ride a broom around. No.
I do. A wish.
It's a wish?
I'm a wish.
Then he goes, I kid him, and he put a heart up. He said something like that.
Oh, he's cool.
Why are you putting the engine hoist together?
So I can pick up this engine.
Oh.
Get it out of here. I'm gonna go throw it over the hill. We're in the weeds. That's it.
I'm gonna go throw it over the hill. I used to live at a place out in the mountains in California, and they actually lived on a hillside, and the guy's house, the hillside was the base of the house. If you go over there, there's all this junk down the hillside. That's exactly what they used to do, was push the stuff off the hillside. There was garbage down there, and trash, and washing machine.
Bury it in the pad for the new.
I mean, just typical hillbilly stuff. They
the
threw
new
it.
garage. I'm gonna bury it in the pad.
They actually threw it over the edge.
Oh, I'm already sweating again.
Oh man, I got my drink. I'm trying to drink some caffeine. This isn't caffeine free, is it? No, it's some kind of generic cola. And it does have, what does it have? The last ingredient's caffeine, so it can't be very much. I'm waking up anyway. Yeah, I fell asleep after the car show. Slept like a rock for a few hours.
We did good. We won first place.
And then Kim opens my door and goes, you know what time it is or something? I'm like, no, it's after 9. I'm like, what? Junk Car Willie's here.
Welcome to the stream,
Hey,
Mr.
Buff and
Junk
Kim.
Car Willie.
And everyone. How you doing, Junk Car Willie? You doing better? I think you said you weren't going to do any videos, and then you kept doing videos.
Stop, it's like an addiction.
It's like an addiction. Yeah.
Hope you'll have success. And once you do, it's all over from there.
Dougster says we did thick ribeye and baked on the I think that's a potato. It's either potato or a peanut. Yeah, potato make more sense. The potato on the grill. It was awesome. And the Lady Dougster, man, there's a Lady Dougster. Lady Dougster.
Ms. Dougster
made bacon wrapped stuffed jalapenos as an appetizer. Oh man. So I don't know how you do those. I take jalapenos and I clean the seeds out, and I put cream cheese, and then I put something in there. And usually I'll put a shrimp, but maybe something else. But anyway, and then I wrap it in bacon and stick a toothpick through it so it doesn't unwrap. When we cook those are addictive. Man, those are good. And without the seeds in there, it takes enough of the heat out of the jalapeno. I could just make a meal of those things. How can I drink warm soda? Well, you know, this wasn't in the refrigerator, but it was next to the air conditioning duct on the floor next to my desk. So it's like not refrigerator cold, but it certainly is cool. So, yeah, warm soda's not very good. This is... She has now pointed out that this is a little warmer than what I like. Yeah, if I have one of these next to my desk, which I usually do, I set it on the floor. I set that 2-liter on the floor, and it's close enough. Well, it's cool near the floor, so it stays pretty cool. John Hart's here. Hi, Buff and Kim. Lighting is better tonight. Oh, she's been messing with it. It needs a little bit more over where on this side, but we'll get it. Tonight, I'm just not so worried about it. It just feels good to be here. Because you know what, John? We left the car show. I ate a couple of tomatoes when I got home because I hadn't eaten anything. And then I fell asleep for several hours. I was out. I mean, I was in another world. Kim came walking in like 9:15, and she goes, "You know what time it is?" I'm like, "Huh?" I better get with it. eFog3, howdy. How you doing? Tim, I have real clean hands today. I pressure washed the truck engine bay twice today. I spray it all with degreaser in the morning and mow the yard while it works on the grease. Yeah. Have you ever used oven cleaner? The Valiant, we soaked that thing. Well, first we pressure washed it. Then we soaked it with oven cleaner. And then we hit it again, and that took a lot of the stuff off. It was amazing. This oven cleaner is really hot tank solution in a spray can. What have you got? Oh, you've got a fan in you. You're fanning yourself. These were oven baked. I make cold stuffed jalapenos. Also, sometimes my favorite cold filling is cream cheese, sweet onion. Oh, we gotta do that. I never thought of putting sweet onion. And homemade bacon bits. And Colby Jack cheese. I bet you don't bring those home because they're gone in 5 minutes. That's everybody's favorite, I bet. Bacon's just a slab of cream cheese and bacon wrap. Yeah, you know, we've done them in the oven many times. In fact, have we ever done those jalapenos on the grill? No. I don't think we have. We've always done them in the oven while everything else. Kim looks hot. She always looks hot. You're hot. Earlier, see, now I'm going to tell you an inside joke. Somewhat low. Hello. It was us meeting you at the Clarksville car show today. Thanks for the welding tips for my 50. Oh, I know who you are. Hello, how you doing? Yeah, and I told you we do these just like impromptu lives, and we always have the Dart in here working on it, or we have for the last couple of weeks, and now it's pulled up. It's in the driveway. Kim pulled it up and was.
I was
Doing
washing it, and we're
washing-
going to do some garage cleanup tonight.
So, yeah. Normally there's a Dodge Dart sitting here or some kind of a car, and tonight it's just kind of just a bunch of stuff.
It's a cleanup night.
Studebaker parts in the background, a Subaru engine hanging there on an engine hoist, and yeah. Wow, yeah, it's good to see you here.
Is that the guy with the license plate?
No, that's the guy with I was telling you about. He has a 57 Buick. Let me get all the guys straight that I talked to on a
Oh, right. A
on a
GM frame.
on a GM frame. Trying to think of. He's the one that's a truck driver. He's a guy that went to school and really expensive school. Became an auto mechanic and finally got sick of it. Has like $1 million in tools, like all auto mechanics do. And then he's driving a truck and enjoying life instead of dealing with automotive customers. Yeah, work on your own stuff. It is so much more fun than trying to work on customer stuff. I did that for years, and I enjoyed the work, but I didn't enjoy all the interaction with people that, I'd work on a radiator, and 3 months later they'd have a fuel leak, and it was my fault, And it wasn't my fault, but all they saw was a leak, And I have a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, it's on a G-body frame. I couldn't think of that. In my mind, I could see the frame, but I couldn't think of G-body frame. I told her it was like a Malibu frame, something like that. Like the square ones, yeah. Those are good. There was, I don't know if you can still get it. It was like a 58 Corvette, 58 9 or 60. You could build it. It's a Corvette body that went on one of those frames, and you shorten the frame up, and God, they looked like early Corvettes. I couldn't tell the difference when I walked out. It's a really nice conversion. Man, I should buy one of those. Man, you know how much fun that would be? Just take a G-body frame and have this Corvette kit. And it looked just like a 58 Corvette. And I bet it didn't cost anywhere near what they get for those. Probably a better car. Went on a Home Depot run today. I got 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood, 2 10-foot lengths of conduit, and a DeWalt battery operated fan. Uses DeWalt power tool battery. $176. DeWalt makes pretty good stuff. The early stuff, the batteries didn't last, but I think they got that figured out. And the place I worked last, which was, oh God, that's 2 years ago now. They had all these DeWalt tools, and the batteries all failed right away. And they bought all brand new DeWalt tools and new batteries. Man, those things kicked ass. So, yeah, we had that stuff. I think those were they 20 volt? Are the new ones 20 volt? It's like they had 2 different ones, but you could interchange them or something. I see a lot of people out here using Easy Off. I've never tried it. Yeah, that stuff works quite well. We used the generic out of the dollar store oven cleaner. It cleaned all that nastiness off. Well, we blew most of it off the pressure washer and then soaked it with that and then blew it off the pressure washer again, and it worked quite well. The G-body shuffle. Okay, who used my brake clean and didn't put it back where it's meant to be? You didn't?
When one finger's pointing, the
Oh, it's
other
me?
3 are pointing back at yourself.
Well, that must be me. Oh, I'm the only one here. Okay, Tavo, you're working in a shop by yourself. No Mrs. Tavo in the shop, huh? Oh. Yeah. So tonight, yeah, usually Kim's like working on the car, and I'm sitting here yapping away. Or sometimes I get up and help, but not very often. Yeah, the cheap oven cleaner seems to work as well. Maybe stinkier in actual oven use. Oh, really? I don't know if I've ever used that in the oven here. Our oven's pretty clean. You know what messes ovens up is when you have like a boil. There's a mess stuck in the oven. Eesh.
Oh yeah.
I moved in an apartment had an oven like that, so I remember cleaning that up. No, Mrs. Tavo. Okay. And we came in early tonight. I don't know why we did, but we were just here, so we started up like 10 minutes early. But some of you may know this guy, Two Hacks Garage. He put up a post with a picture of a Autolite 4100 4-barrel carb. He said he bought it for $1 at a swap meet. Wanted to know if anybody knew what it was. There are all these answers that were not correct, and most people just being silly. I said, looks like an Autolite 4100 to me. I said, want to sell it? Bring it to No Name Nationals, because he'll always be there. So I won because I knew what it was. And he gave it to me. I got a free 4100 Ford, Autolite carburetor. So I won a carburetor today. And I like those things. But it probably went at a swap meet for $1 because it's worth $1. I don't know. Can you still get kits for those? Man, I'll use that thing.
Oh, surely. Yeah.
Sorry, Tabo. My Weber Progressive. What is this? Progressive was a little dirty. I forgot to put it back. Let's see. When I haven't cleaned earlier in the week. Had a bad wheel cylinder. Backing plate was painted now. Easy off his chip. Yep. Man, and cleaning brakes, drum brakes. We used to use all this fancy cleaner. And then when I was in the Air Force, a friend of mine had a 48 Plymouth, and he needed to do a brake job, and he just ran a hose over from the barracks. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, washing it off. And I'm thinking, yeah, I guess. What difference does it make? And it cleaned every, it's like this dry brake dust stuff and leaky wheel cylinder, and it just water and clean it with a brush. It came out really good. And then we rebuilt the wheel cylinders and did his brakes. Does the oven cleaner have lye in it? I think it is lye.
Yeah.
It is lye.
It's very.
And that's what used to go in my radiator hot tanks was big chunks of lye, and then it's 180 degrees or 190 degrees or something under boiling, and that's what we cleaned radiators with. And that's what they use in the hot tanks in the machine shops. I'm going 2.5 hours to Greater Detroit to see 6%. I'm bringing him some 383 Mopar parts, steel crank, pistons, rods, and a set of 915 closed chamber iron heads. Oh, so you're headed up there.
That's awesome. Who is that? Says
He's going to 6%.
Who is?
Dougster. I'm sorry.
Dougster. Nice. Send our kind regards to Mr. 6%.
Wow, you're gonna go up there and take a night flight. Well, he says lye will kick poison ivies, but really, we're gonna go out and buy up all the oven cleaner in town tomorrow.
No.
I want to put up my mast for my antenna, for my ham radio thing. CB ham, whichever I am at the time. And there's a big poison ivy patch right there, so I've been avoiding it. But now that I know that, I'm going to hose that down with oven cleaner. Oh, man. Kim, oven cleaner. Mike Murphy, what's going on? Kim and Buff. Good evening, Mike. Well, tonight we are don't have the Dart in here because we took it to a car show, which really, I don't know. I guess it was about showing the car, but more it was like a first run after all that work we did on it, and it drove up there and back just.
It didn't give a lick of trouble.
Just no trouble. Everything went real well.
It drives much better with the new arm.
With the idler arm, I asked her how does it. I asked her how it drove, because before it was really wandery and had crap tires on it. She got new tires on the front, and then the idler arm, and she goes, "Oh, it feels good."
It goes right down wherever you point it. That's where it goes.
But we haven't set the toe on it, so we need to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's very consistent now. It feels good. Before it felt scary. I was like not happy going down the road.
Bruce came in and I missed what he said. He says Autolite 4100, hard to get jets for them. I drill them out and tap use Holly jet. Oh, okay. Yeah, we have Holly jets and a kit and stuff around. So
that's cool. We haven't done a lot of carburetor jetting. Ever yet.
Dougster says no. Lye soap will. Lye soap.
Lye soap will get rid of poison ivy.
Oh, I see. On me, not on the poison ivy. Oh, I was going to spray the poison ivy with it.
It'll dry it out.
Oh, I am so sick of poison ivy and the stuff. It's like the #1 plant here. It just grows. And it just goes. I mean, nothing stops it. You get a dry day or something, the lawn will start to die, but man, that poison ivy keeps going.
Yeah,
it doesn't care.
It's a happy plant.
It's a happy plant, but I'm really unhappy around it. Let's see here. You can get lye from fire ashes, I'm told. You know, that's what Kim said. She wanted to clean stuff with the ashes out of the wood stove, but it made a mess. Did the Dart? Yeah, the Dart drove great. Made it with both front wheels. Yeah, it was. She drove it. I was gonna drive it back, but I didn't eat anything, and then I was there, and I got dehydrated. I drank a bottle of water. It went down like in seconds, and then I had to come home. So she drove it home.
It drives good now. It winds up pretty far out highway speed, though.
Diesel fuel and poison ivy don't get along. Just saying. Man, I got 5 gallons of... Big noise. I got 5 gallons of diesel here. What is that thing that you just kicked? I'm trying to figure it out
That's the legs for the... whatchamacallit saw.
The legs for the whatchamacallit saw. Okay.
The table saw.
I could see it was some kind of legs, but I couldn't recognize what it was for. Because I'm looking in the chat screen. We'll work on that 2-barrel on your slant 6. Dougster says spray on live plants. Yeah. Oh, you cleaned that all up. That looked really bad. Now it looks kind of clean. Yeah, I want to empty out those toolboxes. Pressure wash them. I might even paint those toolboxes.
The big problem is now we have an entire Studebaker that we have to find a home for.
Oh, the Studebaker, we got to put it together sometime. I know, the Studebaker's in pieces in the shop. Because you pulled it all out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have front fenders and inner fenders and a hood and a front panel. I don't know what you call it.
The fenders are still up there packed away, but the hood and the trunk lid and the front.
One-eyed cat. Rims are paid. I'll get it out yet. Rims are taped off. Paint first thing in the morning. I had enough car for the day. Yeah, I know how that is. There's days I have enough car.
Take it a little bite at a time sometimes.
Well, the next project in here is going to be mine. So Kim will probably be here more, and I'll be over there in the sheet
I'm
metal
trying to
break.
give us lots of room to work with
Oh,
the
yeah.
cameras and stuff while we're working.
We'll bring that.
And then we got all that room over there between the
Breaking the shear.
shear and the brake. And...
Oh, this is going to be good.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll bring the Spitfire in here and debody it. Well, Kim wants to get it running first. I kind of want her to do that. And then we'll take the body off. And I kind of got in my mind what I want to build, and it's an aluminum car. And so that'll be a fun project that we'll probably have on live some. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat, I like this. One-Eyed Cat, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. That's like us in 2 different rooms on the 2 different laptops. The oven cleaner I got from, oh, what is that? Weiss.
Weiss?
Weiss? Oh, Wise. That's what they called it up there. Wise is easy off, cleans 3 times faster, heavy duty, deep cleans in 3 minutes, will burn your skin. Oh, it probably says all that all over it.
Yeah, you gotta wear gloves.
Yep,
Don't get that stuff on your skin or in your eyes, especially.
Plenty of room for Kim's monkey bike. Oh, you could get a whole fleet of monkey bikes.
The monkey bike we could do, yeah, put it on the table. And
are we gonna do the monkey bike to take, or are we? Oh man, there's another before No Name Nationals.
We'll see.
No Name Nationals project. Well, Kim's car's got to come back in here. I think we need to pull the intake manifold because she's got a vacuum leak.
I'm not doing it.
You're not doing it?
Nah, I'm just gonna smear some RTV all over it and hope it helps.
What if it like sucks the RTV? We drive it and then you look in there and RTV went down in there.
We'll jump off that bridge if we arrive at it.
And it comes out the exhaust. We'll be out there on the road looking for the piece of RTV. Then we'll take a new tube. I don't know if that's a good idea, Kim. Weiss. Yeah, that was a good store. When I was in Maryland, those things were around. I used to go into Weiss, and then they closed it. You know what they did? I don't know which was better. They closed the Weiss, and it was closed. And then it was vacant for a while, and then it became a Harbor Freight. Man, was that a good thing. Because we didn't have a Harbor Freight there.
Tim, you don't want to JB weld the intake manifold because it has to come back off. And
JB weld.
It's supposed to float a little bit because it expands and contracts a lot.
Yeah, you can't make something hard in there. Now what you do is you rev the engine up, you put the stuff on there, and then let off on the gas. Oh, I know. Go downhill and let off on the gas. It'll suck the RTV down in the where the vacuum leak is. I don't know if that's a good idea.
That's good. We'll know exactly where it's leaking because we'll be able to see the hole where it sucked it in, and then we'll just gob even more on it.
I think we ought to just pull the intake off.
I like how this is a we when I'm going to be the one doing the work.
Oh, I can do it.
If one of the studs breaks off, then we're going to be extracting. It's a big job.
Went with the 3-inch studs for these aluminum slots. Oh, you got big. Oh, yeah, because you got big power in that thing. So you got big studs. What about the diameter of the studs? Are they like giant, like larger diameter studs? Or are they? Yeah, One-Eyed Cat. For those, most everybody in here knows him. But he has the early Valiants that we call the Road Toads. He has a 62 last year for the Road Toad, but they only had slants in them. But his has a 440 in it, and yeah, that thing's probably pretty quick. Got any oven cleaner left? Use clean the tub in the shower. You know what I use on the tub in the shower? I'm kind of crude. It's the other direction. From that I use, but that's a good idea. I take bleach and just splash it in there, but you can't let it sit.
You got to be careful. Bleach will not mess with your porcelain, but oven cleaner will etch your porcelain.
Oh, well, she's a plumber. So she knows this stuff. It'll etch the porcelain. I didn't know that. Well, what's our tub? It's porcelain?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like rock hard. House was built in, like in the 60s. So, yeah, it's not a plastic tub. Look, may have used the whole can. Yeah. Mike Murphy. I had a 98 Integra with a hole in the transmission. Slapped JB weld on about once a year. It worked. Kim, what did you use on your transmission? She bought a new tail shaft housing because it was broken, and the new one came with a crack in it. So
I did use JB weld.
she stop drilled it or something. Used JB weld on
I
it.
used JB weld on, but I cleaned
Still
it.
working.
I did a nice job with it, and it was not a stress. It was not a stress crack. So the original tail shaft housing had a stress crack from twisting. The replacement one had a near puncture crack from somebody heavily handling the transmissions before they were turned into cores. So I just ground it down so it's nice and shiny and immediately applied JB Weld to it. The good stuff, the water JB Weld for boat epoxy, because it says it's for aluminum, and I just put a big gob of it on there, and it's never leaked a drop. That's how I got that van, was because the transmission leaked profusely.
Tavo says he's having a hard time hearing us, but then he says it might be because his compressor's running. So I don't know. Can everybody else hear us?
It's his compressor.
Or it's just he's giving us a hard time.
He's giving us a hard time.
And then One-Eyed Cat says knurl is 0.675. Needed a 43/64 drill bit, but they're done. So that would mean the knurl is that size. So what is it? So is it a 625 stud or a 1160? I don't know what size though, but it sounds to me like it's bigger. Yeah, and Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says we have 2 road toads. Yeah, and our audio is okay, so it's his compressor. I still want a 60. I mean, that would be my one of the near the top of my wish I had list is a 1960 road toad Valiant. The ones with the little sliding.
There's a lot of cars on your wish list.
Well, the 60 is one of those. The 60 Valiant. I like those little squinty-eyed taillights, and I like the dash on the 60 and the 61. I don't know. They'll probably never get one. Yeah, there's a lot of cars I'd like to have, but that's one of the ones that I really think about. It's like you with Dodge pickups. You keep dragging these Dodge pickups in here. Ram trucks.
I've only got 3 Dodge pickups, 4 Dodge pickups. I've only got 4 Dodge pickups. I can't believe I
only have 4 Dodge pickups, and one of them runs.
That's not true. 3 of them run. The white one runs, but the transmission doesn't go out at first. And it has no oil pressure. And it has a weird... Remember we brazed the manifold so that we could make that engine into an air compressor engine, but we gave up on the project because we couldn't get oil pressure out of the damn engine. Anyways, the white truck does run, and it will drive around the yard, but it won't go anywhere. The green truck needs the exhaust and the taillights fixed. The blue truck I pulled 360 out of, so it's just a shell with no floors. And then we fixed the black one. We'll start and run, but it needs a fuel system.
Okay.
So
the chat's getting away from me here. Let's see. 4360. Oh, first, Mike Murphy says he's sitting next to a 747. Are you kidding me? Or you're just saying that's why you can't hear me and you're joking? That sounds like something I used to do. I'd be next to some giant airplane.
Who's next to 747?
Mike Murphy. I think he's just giving us our time, but he could actually be out on a flight line somewhere.
I'm sitting next to a 727 transmission. Is that anything like it?
4364 is 671 thousandths. Now I can hear you perfectly. Okay, his air compressor shut off. Dougster says 25 years ago, an old guy got a cast iron pan free with a broken handle. He had both pieces, and JB welded them together. His kids are still using that. Really? Ari's here. Good evening.
Ari, welcome to the stream.
Hey, Ari. Are you going to do an After the Tony show tomorrow? I assume you're back home. You're gone from Arizona. He says, howdy, Buff. Howdy, Kim. One-Eyed Cat says, Ari. Oh, how goes it, brother? Mrs. One-Eyed Cat is saying hi to Ari. Tub, our 62 kept the same dash as the 6061. Yeah, I don't know why I like the 6061 dash better. It might not even be a better dash. It's just, I don't know. It belonged there, so I kind of liked it. Although, I wouldn't turn down a 62.
Oh, we made a friend today who who's right up the road by the Hilltop Market. He's got some 4-door 64, 65 parts cars. That might be helpful to us in some way. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a bunch of Dodge-Darts.
Maybe some parts for my car. I don't know what I need.
Oh, Mike Murphy said he's just kidding. I thought he was just kidding, but I've been right out there next to some giant military airplane with the engines running. It's like, don't stand near the intake. Man, with me it was mostly C-141s, and they're all parked now, and C-5s. But man, Dougster says I gotta get to bed. Gotta be up early. Oh, I thought you were going tonight. Oh, okay.
Dougster, that's selfish of you.
Bye, everyone.
Stay here and entertain us with your wittery.
Says have a great time. Dougster is out. So now we have our fear back. Because when he comes in,
I'm afraid Dougster is leaving us.
he always says, have no fear, the Dougster's here. Well, he's leaving, so
The fear is returning.
we have fear once again.
The fear has entered the stream.
Harry says he's home. Arizona was nice, but it's good to be back. It's always good to be home. Anytime I went anywhere, it didn't matter where I lived. When I walked in the house, it always felt good. Although there were places I liked better, it was always good to be home. Always felt good to be home. I did like having a home in Arizona and a home in Tennessee, because then I was home on both ends of the trip. But, yeah. A lot of times... Oh, Danny Boyd's here.
Sorry about the noise.
He says, Danny Boyd says, it's Saturday night. Here comes more noise. Nope. It's Saturday night and I'm drunk. I'm drunk.
Danny Boyd.
Danny Boyd, you're always drinking something, probably something good. Well, you can't be that drunk because you're not making mistakes while you're typing. I'm going to try to do a live stream tomorrow. Well, Ari, you know what? I'm going to be on your live stream, so we're not going to... If you're going to do a live stream, I don't think we're coming up here.
No, we're not going to try and
No, I'll be on... Just everybody that's here going to Ari's live stream after the Tony show. I'm looking forward to seeing your new studio. He had a studio that was just a corner that had nothing there except like a wire going up the corner. But he moved, so I don't know. His studio is usually inside his truck. He's got a 1960 Chevrolet pickup, and he does the live usually from inside the pickup. Danny Boyd, home on the range. Range 5 for me. Tim had 4 F-18s flying over our town today. Must be something going on, but not at the Air Force Academy. Yeah, there's a couple of guys I watch. I watch their videos, and it's the Mover and Gonky show. And those guys were both Air Force pilots and both Navy pilots, so they both flew F-16. Well, one of them flew F-16s and F-18s. And the other one flew F-18s and then T-38s. And I guess the other one went back to T-38, so he was Air Force, Navy Reserve, then Air Force Reserve. But it's kind of interesting because they flew both Navy and Air Force. It's kind of interesting to hear both sides of it, the same people. Because usually it's one against the other, But these guys are pretty interesting. Dr.Art. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I used to drink it.
Stella Artois.
Is that how you pronounce it?
It's a beer.
Yeah, I used to drink it. It was good. It's kind of I would call it a light beer, but it's not a light beer, but it's a lighter colored beer. And, I used to drink that sometimes. Yeah, I kind of miss drinking beer sometimes, but I just, you know, my blood sugar goes way up, and then, Harry says I'm having a Smithwick's with my cigar. I never smoke cigars, but Smithwick's, okay. Tavo, another Saturday night. I ain't got nobody. And he's got, he's singing. Mike Murphy, Dan, I'm drinking some Coors Banquet right now. When I was young, like before I was supposed to be drinking, Coors was my go-to beer. Danny Boyd's Stella. Harry says, I really enjoy your live stream. We ought to do a live stream. Yeah, we ought to do that. Hey, Kim, one night, Harry's saying we ought to do a live stream together. One night, let's do it, a live stream from the studio, and set up your, whatever that gizmo is you set up. And we'll bring Ari in, and the three of us will sit there.
I would love to do that. Yes. We'll absolutely.
We'll have to do that. I don't know if we'll
work out the technicalities. Are we gonna stream on his channel or our channel or both channels?
Well, you brought a couple of people in here. Like Wendy came in here one night, and I don't know. I know who was here. Dougster was in one time. We ought to do that from the studio, and then all three of us can sit there. That'd be really cool. Because Ari's good on a live.
Ari is fantastic.
So, and all of you here need to go into Ari's. Well, a lot of you already are. Like Olive's a Blue Wrench on Ari's channel. So a lot of these people know Ari and his stream.
Ari, you should absolutely do it. I'd love to. Anytime.
Olive says, just have some PBR here. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah, that's something I didn't drink very much. I've had it, but didn't drink much of it. I got into all the really dark beers for a while, and then they got like too thick, too heavy. And then I got into some of the craft beers, and then that's kind of when I quit. My son's really into craft beers, and especially like Oddball European stuff you never see, because he spent a lot of time in Europe. Oh, that's the one I really liked was London Pride was I got into that while I was in England. So that kind of was my go-to beer for a while, but it's hard to find in the States. But I just don't drink beer anymore. Not much. I'll have a little taste in a shot glass at my son's house sometimes, if it's something I haven't had.
Ari, have you used StreamYard? Like, have you run a live with StreamYard before? Or have you only been on lives with StreamYard? Let me know what he says.
Okay, yeah, and I'm trying to keep up the chat. Danny Boyd says, except Coors Light. Coors Light is really good, like on a hot day, if you're working outside and you don't want to feel much alcohol, and it's like one step better than water. But it has its purpose on a hot day. Same with Bud Light. Bud Light's more of a beer than Coors Light is, though. Olive says, I like aircraft. Don't mind them flying around generally. I don't either. I don't like helicopters when they go over the house, at 100 feet or something. They do that here sometimes because I know where they're going if they have a problem. Their glide path is pretty much straight ahead. So I'd rather they be up higher. At least they can make my backyard instead of my roof. As long as it's not an IPA. I was drinking IPAs for a while and I got tired of those. I don't know why. I did. I got tired of them. But I was drinking them for a while. They had a balloon fest here this weekend. About 100 balloons all weekend. Wow. The wife was away, so I didn't go. Balloons, that's a big deal in New Mexico, too. I think you'd have to use StreamYard. Yeah, Kim has the pay version of StreamYard.
No, I don't. I stopped paying.
Oh, you canceled it. Okay.
Yeah, we used it a couple times, and honestly, it was great, but I didn't like paying for it.
She didn't like paying for it.
We weren't making any money, and it was
in Cleveland, we had Stroh's beer. Yeah, I haven't seen Stroh's in many years. When I was a teenager, that stuff was around, and it was like the teenagers that were just after I turned 21, the kids that were not supposed to be drinking, but they were. Man, that age group, they all were drinking Strohs, and I don't know why. It just was the thing then. YouTube have live together only on my mobile for now. It'll be good when they extend it to PC.
I have never seen the live together thing. I didn't know it was a thing.
Ari says Fuller's. It was always terrible, at least by the time I got to MA. Oh, Massachusetts. But it's kind of my quality minimum. I don't like Streamyard, but I've done it before. It bothers me because I only have one screen. Well, we'll bring you in then, you know. Oh, then I don't know if you could. Oh, I don't know if that'll work for you. Okay, so we'll figure it out. But that won't be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. You'll go on Tuesday maybe, but it'll probably be the Tuesday after that. Danny boy couldn't get into the blue ribbon. I always tried because I was cheapest. One time in my late 20s, I loved it. I overdid it on harps. Got really sick. You know, I had a couple of really bad booze, overdone it. And then when that happens to me, I don't drink for months. I don't even want alcohol near me. Oh, I had a couple of bad ones. Oh, man. Nothing like a good old booze puke. Then I'm done for months. It just,
do it.
Let's see here. Danny boy, the aftertaste I had the next day was dormant till I drank some Pabst, and it reminded me of that taste. This is one I got tonight. Weekend is when I met Dawn, and I was only 14 at the time. It's 14 going on 54. Oh man. You met One-Eyed Cat when you were 14. That's pretty cool. My parents met really young. They met in grade school or something, and then knew each other, but then they started writing to each other when my father was deployed in the Pacific in World War II, and he came home and they got married. That's kind of an interesting story. I don't know what happened to any of the girls. When I was 14, they're all gone. We all went different ways. Let's see. Fuller's has a beer called 1812 that's one of the best beers I've ever had. Man, you get me wanting to try this stuff. We gotta buy 1812, but then you don't drink, and I'll only drink like a tiny bit. You know what I'll do? I'll buy 1812 when Matt comes home. I'll take it over to his house because he won't let it go to waste, and I'll get to try it.
You could just buy a 6-pack, you know.
Yeah, but I won't drink a 6-pack of beer.
Not for. You can only really have.
I can't even drink a whole beer. My blood sugar would take me days to get my blood sugar back in shape, and A1C will go up. That's terrible. My friend drank that last harp in my fridge months ago and raved about how good it was. Danny Boyd goes, Strohs. One-Eyed Cat. Been a few days, Wendy. So you guys been together for a long time. Because I haven't seen a harp in like 15 years. Oh yeah, and Goebbels? I don't know, is that Goebbels or Goebbels or whatever it is? Used to get that all the time. For some reason, Sam Adams is expensive here. That's in Georgia. You know, there's stuff that came from Firestone out in California called 805. And 805 is just the area code there, but they call the beer 805. And it's been creeping east. I could get it in Arizona finally, but it's a great beer. I don't know. Ari can probably get it, but I don't know if it crept any further east. But anything that comes from Firestone Brewery was, man, everything that came from Firestone was really good. And it's a grandson or great grandson or somebody of the Firestone tire family, same family but different business. And anything that says Firestone on it's good. I never got Sam Adams. Samuel Smith's. Yes. Oh yeah, I've had Samuel Smith's. And then what's the one from England that's Smith's? Oh no, Samuel Smith's, maybe? I don't remember. It's been a while. Dan, their winter welcome and their nut brown is damn good. What it? Okay. Hell yeah, Wendy. You met a good one. Yeah, you know, they met when they were 14 and now they drive around in road totes together. It's like, that's pretty good. Ari says they sell it in tall bottles. Whole sixer, Danny Boy says, whole sixers is a lot for me anymore. Yeah, if I drank a six-pack, I'd be in trouble. It's been quite some time. I roll from purely from drinking. This is all of, sometimes the tummy doesn't want hard stuff. Oh yeah. Scandinavian Pride. Fat Tire's good beer. Scandinavian Pride. Good evening. Welcome to the chat. Man, we could hardly keep 6 people in here last night. Tonight it's fine. Well, last night we go. It's the beginning. See, in the U.S. it's a 3-day weekend, and so I thought nobody's going to be here tonight, but we have a pretty good crowd tonight.
People are hanging out. Maybe nobody else is streaming.
Mike Murphy, Fat Tire is brewed close to me in Fort Collins. Think they are also in North Carolina. You know, that's another one. When I was in Arizona, I drink Fat Tire. I forgot about that. Okay, Ari knows about it. 805 is really good. 805. You know, Ari, if you see anything else from Firestone, nothing that comes from that is bad. It's all good stuff. Samuel Smith. There's Samuel Adams and Samuel Smith. Samuel Smith. I haven't seen it in ages. It was always expensive and thus a treat. Yep. A 6-pack. This is Tim. 6-pack usually lasts me about a year. Who was it? It was Colleen got me started at the first annual No Name Nationals on what is it called?
It's Bud Light Zero.
Bud Light Zero, which is no alcohol Bud Light. It's the only beer.
Oh, I thought it was zero sugar.
Zero. It's zero. No, the sugar's really low, and it's zero alcohol, and it's So I've had a 6-pack of that, and there's still one left in the refrigerator. That's how much I drink. 6-pack a year, yep. But it didn't used to be that way. I think I maybe had my life's allotment of alcohol. I don't know. Yes, Dan. See, Ari knows about that. This series got a lot of nice IPAs, though you get tired of them. Yeah, that's what happened to me with IPAs. I got tired of. Seems everything else local breweries make that isn't IPA is packed full of flavors of various kinds. Yeah. Yep, and some of that stuff I liked, and some of it I didn't. You know, it's like, I don't know. I tried just about everything. I think I'd get 16-ounce bottles. Been a long time since I seen Samuel Smith's anywhere. Yeah, what happened to Samuel Smith's? What is that? The one that had the oatmeal stout? Samuel Smith's, I think, and it was oatmeal stout. I really like that stuff. It was kind of thick, heavy. But I that was my go-to beer for a while. But I don't even look in the beer anymore. I used to walk by where the beer was, and I just was, that was like kid in a candy store, but not anymore. All if I hear there, usually I just like good red or something kind of malty. Yep. Scandinavian Pride, thank you. Welcome. Yeah, it's good to have you here. Are you in Scandinavia somewhere? Or are you in the U.S.? Or yeah, we got people from all over the world here. Danny Boyd, no IPA for me. More about the IGA. The IGA. That's the store I liked that we decided we weren't gonna go to last week.
Oh yes.
IGA. I couldn't think of the name of that. IGAs are like kind of locally owned chain of stores, grocery store. Food is my drug. I got to be careful of that because I got really fat. I saw some pictures of me from 20 years ago. Oh my God, I was like enormous. And I lost 100 pounds. And over the years, I've gained about 20 of it back and then kind of stayed there. But I don't ever want to do that again. I got to be really careful with food. Of course, being a diabetic and sticking to the diabetic diet, that helps a lot. But that's probably why I'm a diabetic, because I got so fat. This is One-Eyed Cat. Yes, I did, Danny Boyd. I got him under my wing. We grew up together and learned a lot. Just don't piss me off. We'll remember that. They'll be at No Name Nationals, I'm sure.
We never had any plans to piss you off.
Import tariffs, maybe could be. But you know, I don't know what that is on beers. In the U.S., we tend to keep the tariffs kind of low, but I don't know. We're don't know. That's a real political thing that happens. I don't know, or maybe it just didn't sell that well. You know, you got to be oatmeal stout and the nut brown ale. Okay, so you remember that oatmeal stout? That was good stuff.
Sorry about the noise.
But my guess is the sales probably weren't that high, you know, and it sits on the shelf a lot. A little off topic. It's Father's Day down here today. So you have a weekend too. I got a new wall decoration from the Grandy. A replica sign, Chrysler Australia Service Center. I love signs like that. Oh, I don't have that shirt on. I have a shirt that I've worn on before that has the Studebaker Service Center, and I want one of those big metal signs. Man. Oh, IGA, yeah, Independent Grocers Association. We have an IGA here. It's an older store, and I like it, but it's a little out of the way, and we just decided not to go over there, and we went to another local store here that was pretty good. So we'll probably be going back there. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat, I remember that store. Tim says, Mike, I would pick up loads of Fat Tire and the others in that warehouse in my big rig. Nice people to work there. Oh, okay, so you went to the place. I kind of miss the old Terrapin Rye. I don't know what that is. Speaking of red beers, all the bars had it here on tap. Man, when I was in Oregon, there was a place there called 40 Taps, and they had 40 beers on tap, and they were all either local beers from right there in Pendleton, Oregon, or kind of spread out around the area. A few from Northern California, a few from Washington, but 40 beers on tap from local stuff. And I'd go there and I'd limit myself to one, and because I shouldn't be drinking any, and I'd Uber it over there from the hotel and Uber it home, because man, if I drink one beer now, I'm duped, because I don't drink much, so I would just really feel it. That was a good place. Tavo says I'm 220 pounds, but I'm 6'2". Yeah, that's okay. I was 220. Danny Boyd says I was 225 in my 20s. Got down to 170 at 30. Back up to 190-ish in my 50s. Now I'm 160 in my late 50s. Yeah, but I don't know how tall you are. Oh, I was 5'7" and 260. That was wrong. That was really wrong. And then I lost all that weight. I couldn't even get in airplanes. That's terrible. And I gained all that weight when I was working on a big airplane project that I never flew that airplane, but I did all the engineering on it, ran the shop, and man, my feet hurt. Now I know why my feet hurt. I was so well in New England. Samuel Smith's kind of heavy winter stuff. Man, Samuel Smith's oatmeal stout, that was my go-to for quite a while. Danny Boyd says he's 5'8". He's only an inch taller than me. Dan, you'd be looking up at Kim. She's like a foot taller than me.
I am not.
It feels like she's a foot taller than me. She's probably 5 or 6 inches taller than me.
Yeah.
No, you're not 6 feet. You're not 6 feet. You're probably like 4 inches taller than me. It feels like she's a foot taller than me. I was in Illinois. There was a decent pub. Good dark pints. Hey, Ari, maybe you're not supposed to talk about it. What happened to this big fire in Illinois?
Oh, don't bring that up.
Don't bring up the big fire, okay?
Yeah, you don't even need to respond, Ari. I don't think it's how-
I saw pictures.
don't-
Oh my God.
I'm sure that's not something he's allowed to comment on.
Shepherd's pie, not cottage pie.
Sure of it. Don't put
Dan
him in that
is-
spot.
Dan is still about 40 more pounds than I weighed last year. I can afford to eat. This is Ari. He says, I can afford to eat now that I don't work for that moron. You work for him? Work for a moron. Getting late for me. One-eyed cat. Thanks for the live. Yeah, thanks for stopping in and have a good night. Oh, Terrapin's local brewery around here is pretty big. Everybody's saying good night to One-Eyed Cat. Later, Don. Yeah, have a good night, Don. Scandinavian Pride. South Carolina. I had my DNA test and found out 96.2% Scandinavian. I thought I'd be a little bit of everything. So now I'm kind of proud of the Barnes clan that came from northern Scandinavia. Northern Scandinavia. Way up in the north. Yeah, you know, I got to do the DNA test sometime. Which one did you do? I'm just curious. Which one? And were you happy with it? Oh, pretty sure you can still get Samuel Smith's down here. Ari says it was huge. There are a ton of cars out there in the yard near the plant. One of them caught fire and it was like dominoes. You know what I saw was they put a bunch of shipping containers to kind of, so it wasn't right out in the open, nobody could see it. Then, of course, people flew their drones over and took pictures. So I saw one of the drone pictures. Oh, man.
Looked pretty bad.
I guess they, must have been a huge loss. Or yikes, 40 up in a year. Yep. All right, Wendy. Oh, Wendy took off too. I guess she probably would. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. I don't see Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. There are a ton of cars out there in the yard. Oh man, that just one of them caught fire and it was like dominoes. Is that where is same place you were? I mean, obviously that happened after you were there, but is that the same place? Mrs. One-Eyed Cat. Do you guys still go to UTG Buff? Oh, you know, it's about an hour and a half at least from here on a good day with no traffic. Hour and a half from here. So we don't go down there very, very often. I don't know. He had that big shop and we worked in there some. And then I was doing the lives with him. But then I went back to work and I told him I was going to be gone for a month. Well, it ended up being over 2 years. So, you know, in 2 years' time, he moved on, you know. So I was really a part of that for a long time. But, you know, it's like, sorry, Tony, I had to work. And I ended up in Maryland most of the time and then in Oregon. So I was really out of position. So, no, we don't go down there very often. And then I met Kim, and Kim went down there with me some, but most of that was over by the time she was here. And so we're doing our own thing, trying to build our own channel up.
Yeah, we've been working on the shop and just, well, Tony gave us that Valiant. We were trying to get it put together to turbocharge it, and we never got there yet. Because we've been busy with
Tony gave us a lot of parts. He gave us enough pieces and parts of a slant to build a slant 6, and he gave us his part. He was in part, I don't know, if it's 50-50. He probably owned more of it. He was in with Stubby, a guy named Stubby down there that's not a YouTuber, on that Valiant. And I bought out Stubby's part and Tony gave me his part. So that's how we got the Valiant. And and Tony gave us a new turbo, which we haven't put on, but that'll go on the Valiant, I think, or onto something. Might go on Tim's car, or onto Kim's car, not Tim. Tim, it's not going on your car.
Oh, did you just disappoint the living heck out of Tim?
I just disappointed Tim.
Poor guy.
When I was meaning to say Kim, I said Tim, and I didn't mean to call you Tim. I just said it wrong.
Right, that's the origin of Turbo del Campo, but life has other
See,
avenues.
some of those commercial DNA tests are of limited scientific. Yeah, that's why I was asking how is the. I'll get to his down there. Ari says the fire department out there does an excellent job. They're on site almost instantly, and they're well trained for EV fires. Yes, that's exactly where I was, right near where I used to park. Wow. Oh yeah, that was I saw the mess. That was a hell of a fire. But did they put it out, or did they just kind of keep it contained? Scandinavian Pride. I had one done through my state medical university. Oh, okay. Is voluntary for healthcare research. Oh, that's interesting. Hence the Turbo del Campo came from the turbo that Tony gave us. Hope Stubby is doing okay. Last time I saw Stubby, he had a new baby boy. He was working in a sandwich shop, and he made me one of the best sandwiches I ever had. And he's a nice guy. It's the first time I met him twice in person, and both times to sign paperwork. And then I guess I went to his grandmother's house to see him there. He had a bunch of parts he wanted to sell me, but there's really some 3-speed manual transmission.
At the time, we didn't have any cause for it.
Yeah, it's money I needed to spend on other places. So yeah, he was doing okay. I haven't talked to him probably at least a year. Also, basically, might be best to get a scientific lab if anything seems off. My sister did one, and I feel like they only look at so many markers. Not that I'd be all shocked and upset, just methodology. I had a friend do one. He's a noticeable, really light-skinned white guy, and he had 3% black African. And he goes, it made sense because my mother lived in South Africa, and I thought, wow. And he had some other surprises that were European and mostly British, though. And he goes, it all made sense because his family lived in South Africa. And then I knew somebody else had one. He had some surprises that were all European, but really not where he expected. A lot of Eastern European he didn't expect. Earlier this year, a school district was trying electric school buses. Same company made several city electric buses. Here in Colorado, 2 buses burned. Ugh. One school bus caught fire and took out all 6. Oh my God. This whole electric thing, they can get this technology up where they don't have fires and things, Turbo del Campo really does have a ring to it, though. Yeah, so maybe I'll have to become a Turbo del Campo with, have to use that turbo.
Well, we've got another manifold now. Maybe we can make a turbo-specific manifold now instead of just piping it through the...
Danny boy, as a kid who grew up hating school, I would have applauded those buses loud and proud. When I was it just reminded me of someone. I was in grade school. We had a teacher that said the class is going to have a radio station. It was just a fake radio station. We had all learned how to run a radio station. We did these silly broadcasts like once a week in our class, but we really weren't broadcasting anything. And we lived in California, so all the stations started with K. So he goes, first we have to get call letters, and he explained how call letters work. And the kids all decided to use K, IHS, and so that's what we started using. He goes, what's that mean? It means I hate school. He vetoed that, because we can't use that as our call letters. So they had to pick something else. But everybody in the class decided I hate school was the call letters. Tim, most of those buses were made by a company called Proterra. They went bankrupt like most EV startups. Yeah, a lot of them have. I thought they were all going to go bankrupt, but 2 of them. Well, I guess I don't know what caused the fire with Rivian, but they've got a lot of delivery vehicles out there now, and surprisingly, they're charging them all indoors. I don't know, man. I don't know what starts those fires. So South Africans speak better English than English. You know, I dealt with a lot of South Africans when I was in the airplane business. Some of them I couldn't understand their English at all, and some of them I could understand them quite well. But I think they had a lot of Afrikaans language mixed in. I had one customer that was really tough to understand, but he spoke Afrikaans mostly, but grew up there speaking English too. So I was like, man, I have a spare single barrel manifold if you guys need it. Bring it to No Name Nationals. Now he's got to go to No Name Nationals.
We've got an extra single now.
But we want him to go to No Name Nationals, so bring it to No Name Nationals.
He can either go or he can't. He can't twist his arm and make him drive
Well,
across the country.
now he has a reason. Harry, that name sounds familiar. KJ Kylie. Hello, good evening. I joked that one of our local stations, WTUE, stands for We Talk Utterly Endlessly. You know, I liked all the old talk radio, but they've gone all political, and I don't listen to it.
That's how they make money.
I don't want to listen to that crap. Because that's what it is. It's all
But
arguing.
they'll tell you how to think. Don't you want to know how to think?
All arguing all the time, and it's like, nope, done that, done, go away. It's arguing about probably mostly not reality. Let's see. Seems to be the batteries. Yeah, I don't know, why do the batteries? Yeah, I figured you couldn't comment on the fires.
I'm surprised you talked about it.
But
I did.
But I suppose that they probably don't know a lot yet. They probably are, engineers probably got their hands full.
Probably caused by something combustible burning.
Jump in the water and act like a rock. Jump in the water and act like a rock.
That means
Scandinavian Pride. They're doing research on preventative health care. I was a good candidate because I have a mutation in my genetics which makes my blood too thick. I had a dual pulmonary embolism. Ooh. That doesn't sound good.
I have growth factor K.
But it sounds like just a minute, I'm going to come back to that. It sounds like it was interesting to get that test. I also have a set of stock pistons. What are you going to do with the stock pistons? A clutch in many things. Danny Book. Politics is for crooks. Yeah, that. There's the whole thing right there. You just hit the nail on the head. I always say the only good politicians are the ones that go in there that are honest, and they 2 years into it, they've had enough, and they never run for office again. There's the honest one. Politics is for crooks. Pretty funny. A clutch, many things. Wow. They're your pistons if you need them. Man, here I am, another Slant 6 project, Kim.
Who's that? Ari.
Ari's got standard pistons. I thought we had the last set of standard pistons in captivity, and we used them.
We're never going to need another set of standard pistons in our lives.
Well, you take a block that needs a lot of honing, and you hone it like we did, where we're like 8 thousandths over, and so the piston cylinder wall clearance is 5,000 or 4 thousandths. That's a nice engine,
You can knurl them.
No, you just set them up a little loose. They're fine. And even ours are cast pistons with 4 thousandths piston cylinder wall clearance. I'm good with that. Maybe it's someone using a hot dog cooker that was too much for the EV circuits. Oh yeah, probably my hot dog cookers wouldn't be good to have around electric cars.
You know what happens with those hot dog cookers?
Oh God, got an itch on the side of my face. I put some medicine on there and it itches. You know, I DNA tested my kitty. It came out a cat, a cat, a cat, a cat, a cat, a cat. Yeah, that'd be interesting. DNA, send the cat's spit into the DNA test and see what it comes up. That'd tell you whether they were honest DNA tests. All those honest politicians under death threats. Yeah, yeah, they serve once. See, what I think is Congress should be like jury duty. You get chosen, you don't want to go, but it's a giant interruption. You get paid like $9 a day or something, and you just can't wait to get back to your job. There's a perfect politician. Let's see. And that's something I do like about our system. When I've been on juries, I've been on them twice. I think everybody there was trying to do the right thing, and they couldn't wait to get out of there and get back to their job, you know. But they were all trying to do the right thing, including me. I was sitting on the stoop the other morning, and a kitty came by, but wouldn't stop for a pet. Buff gets Nobel Prize for circuit-breaking hot dogs. Oh, yeah. I had a partner in a shop, and he had welding rods this long, hardwired into the shop, and he just stick hot dogs on there like 3, 4, 5, 6, but they take longer like that. But if you put too many, it'll pop the breaker because it was too much current. You could believe we did that. Tim, the Rivian trucks have 120-volt inverter in the bed. Just this week, we were using the inverter to run an AC machine to recover refrigerants from the other trucks. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So you can, well, a lot of cars have an AC, you know, outlet, but so something like a Rivian, I bet that would run for a long time if it's running off the main batteries. Sorry, honey, I forgot to take my Rivian. Well, today at the car show, we went to a car show. I told all earlier, but there were only a few people in there then. We went to a local car show. You know, local car shows, you don't get like, you know, 100 Mustangs or something. It's a car show of just whatever people want to bring. So there were a couple of lowriders, and there were a bunch of, you know, like the Japanese sports cars, like Mitsubishi 3000s and things. And then there were the old cars, you know, some old, like, rat rods kind of things. And then there was a Cybertruck, and it was wrapped in black, and I was going to go over there, but just didn't get over there because I haven't seen one up close. But so it was everything from cars from the 30s up through a Cybertruck. So it was kind of an interesting show. And Kim drove, and I rode in it, the Dart. And it was the first trip that we took together in the Dart after all the work, and it just ran up there and ran back just perfectly. No issues. Pretty nice. Although we stopped in a car wash on the way and hosed it down, and the guy in the adjacent car wash booth looked over at it, and he goes, what are you driving? Is that a Fairlane? A Fairlane? No, it's a Dodge Dart. Let's see. Yeah, it's really cool. How does the inverter store the refrigerant? Damn, we were running a Robinair machine off of it. I've got a Robinair machine around here somewhere, but it's got way too many hours on it. It doesn't. I would say it sucks, except the problem is it doesn't suck much anymore. So it's a vacuum pump that's out of enough suck to work. Plug in your recovery machine to the AC outlet. Yeah, that makes sense. I got to paint Scandinavia Pride. Well, I got to paint the car in the morning. Nice to meet everyone. Okay. Hey, stop by again. It's good to have you here. And especially if you're painting a car. I mean, you're right
Does
up
he
on
have
it.
a YouTube channel?
Yeah, do you
Or
have
you
it?
can plug his YouTube
Yeah, do you have a
channel.
YouTube channel? And if you do, Harry will probably plug it for you. And if not, just stop in and join in.
Yep. We are all about the community.
Wow. I can't believe we've been on here for. Have we been on here 2 hours?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I've been cleaning.
Oh no. Why is our time off? Our time's off by an hour.
Oh, it's off by a time zone?
Oh, your computer's off by a time zone.
Oh, it still thinks it's in Eastern time.
Oh, you brought the computer from Pittsburgh.
I did.
So the computer thinks it's in Pittsburgh. And we think we're in Tennessee.
Well, the good news is it's not as late as you
It's
thought.
not as late, yeah, because it seemed like we hadn't been here over an hour. We've been here over an hour, not 2 hours yet.
All right, we cannot endorse the specific content that you will find at the Scandinavian Pride channel, but we trust that it's worth looking at. See if it's something that you like and offer a subscribe if you see something good.
It's Scandinavian Pride. Right. Okay.
Thanks
One
for
of my
checking us out as
one
well.
of my early AC recharging tools was a propane torch. Oh my God, that's a terrible way. And that's what they used to look for the. They used to look for the refrigerant, and it would change the color of the flame. But that makes phosgene gas. And you should not be breathing that. Hey, there's Scandinavian Pride's. Kim, is there a way we can click on that and not put us out of business? Or right click it or something? I don't know what we can do to save that. I guess we can go back.
Oh, yeah, it'll be in
Oh, we'll just go back. I'll just go back.
All right.
So then we have it.
We'll check it out after the stream when we head back to the house.
I think it's more like an hour 20. Yeah, that's it. It's an hour, a little over an hour and 20 minutes. We came in 10 minutes early tonight, so I don't know why. And nothing blew up when I triggered the igniter while charging. I had a big diesel generator put on my Freightliner. Put a big inverter in the cab, so I put a fridge and a microwave and my coffee pot. Yeah, just don't drive to Maine with that. Go to Maine, you get like a $23,000 fine or something. Those idiots. You're not allowed to run your engine for more than, 3 minutes or something, and you're not allowed to run any APU generators in Maine because pollution or something. Like it makes any difference in Maine. Air's just going to blow off the coast anyway.
They must have been having real air quality problems up there.
Well, I know what it means to me. Never drive a truck to Maine.
Well,
Drop the stuff off at the border.
They don't need all that bad air up there. They know what's best for them.
Most of that time, this is Tavo, most of that time I spent cleaning that gasket off. Got to be gentle with aluminum. Yep. Harry says, I have a UV light now. I'm getting too fancy. A UV light. That's like ultraviolet light, not like something else. It's a UV light. What do you use that for? Oh, I know. That's for the dye the dye you put in the air conditioning systems. I had one of those little beep 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 things, and man, those you get near refrigerant, it'd be. And you know where I found more leaks than anywhere else is at the shaft of the air conditioning compressors. A lot of leaks there. I used to find that a lot, especially when they switched over to R134 because the pressures went up. And when that happened, man, there were a lot of blown seals on air conditioning compressors. Compressors that were meant for R12. This happened in the 90s when people started converting older systems to R134. Man, I put a lot of compressors on cars. Danny Boyd, now you need one of them lights which finds swirls in paint. Harry says, Freightliner. Yeah. Art. Danny boy, think Quickie Mart, APU. Oh yeah, and Tim says it's got to be a lot of cities and even rest areas that ban truck idling. It's like put the big generator in. Yeah, and in Maine, I think well, I know they did. They made the generators illegal. But the reality is when you're idling, you're not using much fuel. It's just sitting there. I mean, I walk through one of those truck stops with like 50 trucks idling, and you don't even smell it because it goes away somewhere. Unless it's raining, then it all comes down. You do smell it. We have a silly number of black lights coming to no other use than AC dye. I've heard they're pretty good if you go in a hotel and you shine around. You can find things you don't want to find in a hotel, too. Really green with AC. Since the majority of cars I've worked on don't have it. Yeah. Yeah, we took off in Kim's car, and it was all hot and muggy and everything, and I said, turn the AC on, and she looked over the controls, and she goes, it's on. But the only belt-driven accessory on that engine is the alternator.
Well, we've got those little wing windows. You didn't open those.
I actually rolled the window down. And it's quick like the old cars were. It's like 2 cranks. It goes zoop. Like my Jeep is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cranks, bring the window down. They're really geared low now. R134 also smaller molecules than R134. Oh, than R12 probably is what you mean. Causing it to leak easier.
Oh, is that why they make you change the O-rings?
Yeah, and the dye is green. Yeah, and it with a black light, it'll show up right away. Well, what happens is you put R134 in where there was R12, the pressures run higher. Because the new cars that run the R12, they have bigger condensers and they're set up for it. But you put a different refrigerant in and it behaves differently, so the pressures run higher. And then it blows the seals in the compressors. And then something I didn't know is the molecules are smaller. So, yeah, that probably doesn't help anything either. Run the pressures higher, smaller molecules. Old system. All adds
Blew a
up.
seal.
All adds
I
up
told
trouble.
him to leave my personal life out of it and fix the darn thing.
In here when it is winter and it's minus 20 degrees below, I ran the APU with the heater. Almost used it in my hotel in Arizona, but realized I'd rather just not know. Yeah. So I say, look at the bed and the sheets and everything. Oh man. Yeah, I'm afraid to do that. I've been in a sketchy hotel one time and I threw a blanket of mine down on top of the bed and I slept on that. Washed the blanket afterwards. Just slept on top of it. It's like Predator's blood. I just tend to go step by step. Usually watch a YouTube tutorial. Make sure I don't forget anything. Yeah, I do that a lot now. Like I did that when I lived in the apartment because I had to carry the tools from the apartment out to the whatever I was doing. I watch the YouTube first, and then I carry the tools, just the ones I need out there. Like what I was working with is what? Oh, YF1234. Yes, I haven't worked with that yet. Doesn't it eat the O-rings? Well, doesn't what eat O-rings?
The wrong refrigerant.
Well, I don't know. And a lot of these refrigerants now have propane in them, and if you get a leak in the evaporator, you're pumping propane that you can't smell into the cab of the vehicle. That is so bad. I don't want propane inside the car. Propane's a good refrigerant, but it's terrible if you have a leak. Leak in an enclosed area. I was having a hard time keeping up with chat. I just got to the bottom. Yeah, and Kim, you were scurrying around. You're probably hot now.
You know what? I'm not feeling so hot anymore. I think the AC finally took care of it. But I am feeling a little bit worn out. It's hard work. That's why I try and do a little bit.
You've been scurrying around for an hour and a half. Why don't you sit down and relax?
I,
That and you hung the thermometer up here, which I like. I can see it. And it's 81 degrees in here. But the humidity's down to really next to nothing.
Yeah, it feels a lot better.
I heard that pressure difference isn't what hurts the system, but the blended refrigerant will split the O-rings. Oh, and that's possible too. See, I don't know. It's just when I started getting those systems with different refrigerants, I knew that the problems went way up. I had my shop in Ohio in the late 90s, and man, did I have more air conditioning problem jobs than anything else. And I had a buy here, pay here, used car lot right there, which don't ever go in that business. That's terrible business. But I had a buy here, pay here, used car lot. Every car had air conditioning problems, you know. That's why people get rid of cars. They can't get the air conditioning fixed cheap, so they get a different car. So, yeah, that was a problem. And that was that era where the used cars were being converted to from R12 to R134. Because R134 hit about 30 years ago. What, 93, something like that, when all the R134 new cars started hitting the market. I think 93, 94, 95 in there. So I was doing used cars in 98, 99, 2000. All those used cars had air conditioning issues, bad air conditioning issues. And then you sell somebody a car on a buy here, pay here thing. They come in once a week and they make a payment, they make another payment, and they might make a third payment, and then they quit. And you got to go find them because you're going to repo the car. But you really rather they pay for it. And they quit making the payments because something went wrong with the car. And then what would happen is I'd fix the car for free so I could start getting payments again. And there were too many free repairs. And I just, and people quit paying and then they hide the car. And it's like, you know, I had enough of this business. What a terrible business to be in. The people that do good and they do well with buy here, pay here, used car lots, the people that are really good at repoing cars, because they get enough payments, they maybe get the car paid for, then they go repo it, put it up for sale again. So they always keep it going. But, man, that's not the business I want to be in. It's like being a thief. I'm a thief for a business. Dan says he converted his 93 Corolla to R134 with no problem, so that's good. I had God, what was that thing? An 87 Buick Century, my favorite engine, the Iron Duke, and it had been converted when I got it. And whoever did it did a nice job. They TIG welded the new fittings on and everything. Most people don't do that. They put adapter fittings, but somebody did a nice job on it. That thing worked really well. At any point, I would have slept in the truck. Well, you know, hotels are known for nastiness. They put you in a good place, I hope. I've worked for people that wouldn't even pay for a hotel, and then the other extreme was the defense contractor put us in nothing but the best hotels. It's raining, parts coming down. Sorry. Kim's up there cleaning up again. Oh, that's a setup. We should bring those down, Kim, and make them into something else. I'm never going to use these patterns. Ooh. These are hot wire patterns for an airplane part that I'm never going to use again. You watch, as soon as I say that, start using that airplane again and they'll want me to make a new tail for it.
You know what? You'll tell them the price plus what it costs
Yeah.
to make the new pattern.
It'll be $1 million plus parts and labor.
Yep.
You owe me $1 million just for thinking about it.
Just to even be distracted enough to fuck.
Dan, it was a really nice hotel. I'm just being an ass. Yeah, those pieces of sheet metal, we cut them, make them into something else. Look at what's behind me. You know what's behind me? It's all that foam there with Kim. Those are molds that were cut out for making leading edges of wings. But those will never get used for anything.
Well, we don't have the press for them anymore.
I could probably rig up some kind of thing to make a leading edge section. I used to make up leading edge sections that were, like 3 or 4 feet wide, where somebody made ran a wing into a hangar door or something, and then just repair the wing. But we had the whole apparatus here to make wings, and it was taking up
the entire shop,
a quarter of the shop, and it's so big and heavy you had to climb over it. It was really not a good thing. You know what that white thing did behind us? It took all the light off my face.
Which one?
All that white stuff that's behind your head.
It's too bright.
Is the camera is trying to dim down for that, and it darkened my face up.
Maybe if I aim at you a little bit.
Brunelli would be proud. Why? Because of the wing sections? Oh, that made a difference.
Yeah.
That made a huge difference. How'd you know that was going to help?
I'm pretty smart.
I think I know a lot about all this stuff I've worked on for 50 years, and then she'll walk up and like do something I haven't seen before and fix it. I'm like, really? When you're around Kim, you learn something every day. Usually.
It's not always a good thing.
Well,
sometimes you learn.
If you know something about airfoil sections, you see that leading edge, you know that if you're flying upside down with that wing, it's not going to produce much lift. And that is a right side up airplane only. Outside the box thinking. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah, they threw me out of the box for thinking.
Oh, that happens too. Outside the box thinking, in some places that'll get you, you'll be marked as a nutcase and nobody will pay attention to you.
Definitely I don't think I'm not a nutcase.
But if you got somebody that lets you, like that airplane place I worked, the one that we manufacture airplanes, that guy kind of let me alone. And sometimes I told him one time, I'm surprised you let me do that. He goes, well, I like the results. It's like, yeah, okay. So he let me go on a lot of things, and which is pretty good. And the same thing out at the test site. I had a boss there that was, a guy that he was working for a contractor. He got out of school. Well, he was an intern working for the contractor. Then he got a full-time job with the contractor, and then he went government. The government hired him, and he couldn't have been over like 25 years old, and he was our boss. And we were all contractors working for this government guy. And man, he let us do, there were about like 3 of us that he'd let us do anything we wanted. And we made a lot of progress doing that. And he let us alone with a lot of things that a lot of people would have stopped us. I wish I could have one of those old triplanes. I'd never been in a triplane. Been in biplanes, but never in a triplane. Quick question on the oven cleaner. Does that hurt the rubber grommets on the front steering and suspension? Oh God, that thing, the rubber was so bad anyway, we replaced it. Kim, have you ever had any trouble with oven cleaner on rubber parts? I'm trying to think. I used that stuff for years in a hot tank. I can't remember ever having rubber parts in there.
I don't think it's any good for rubber fire.
She goes, I don't think it's any good for them. Yeah, I'd spray. When we did the Valiant, I was spraying it on places that were really dirty and not on the rubber parts. I don't know. You know, the rubber parts. Yeah, I don't know. Even petroleum products will hurt a lot of rubber parts. Dean Stevenson. I learned things from Ari, and I'm 8,000 miles away from him too. Hi, Kimbergini and Buff. Dean Stevenson's here. It's gonna get lively. Dean Anonymous. I think that's how you pronounce that word. He trusted your methodology. Let's see. Management talking in elevator when I was a bike message being, oh, why can't we think outside the box? I blurted out, probably worked hard to get in the box. Yeah, there you go. That's why the bosses are where they're at. Yeah, you know that young guy that became government out there? He was young and he wasn't a guy that worked hard to get there. He was just smart, and somebody recognized it and hired him as a government guy. And every site had a government person, and the government people ran the show. You know, it was their deal, and the contractors did all the work. And that guy we got a lot done there. And we had airplanes that came in from companies where a lot of smart people are supposed to be, and they didn't work right, and they didn't fly right, and it's tremendous problems with them, and we'd get them, and they really weren't bad designs. They just had a lot of details that were messed up, and we'd make good airplanes out of them, and we had a reputation for that. So we had a lot of work. It was really good because, you know, when the money starts to go away, the place I was always kept going. You know, that was a good thing. Up until the end when they lost the big contract. Although he's still at it, he's at a different test site. He's back east now, but he's still going. Geez, he's in his 40s now, got kids and wife and kids, and not such a young guy anymore. But good. I'm sure he's a good guy. Last time I was in Maryland, I went out and ate with him one night. We had a good time talking about all the good old days. What is this? What did Dean say? Danster, it's okay. This is an intervention. Okay. What does that mean? Dean, you're off in La La Land. Dean up there, he's got that rainbow and stuff. What's he saying in that line? I'm lost. He's smarter than I am, and it just goes over my head. It's really just trying to use middle management buzzwords, try to figure out creative. Our thinking head only fits once. What they were doing just seemed so dense. Well, you know what I found? A lot of bosses that took a long time to get where they are, man, they don't want to rock the boat at all. They want nothing to change. And when you're in an engineering position where you're supposed to fix stuff that doesn't work right, those two things don't get along. You know, you got to change things. It's the 7 Habits of Successful People. Stephen Covey. What was the last thing you did on your bicycle? I know a hell of a lot more than 7 habits. Can you read this? Because this is all going over my head.
Which thing?
That they're the habits of dipshits.
Oh, I don't know. 7 Habits of Successful People, and the last thing you did on your bicycle, and
I just avoid them.
K-frame and other steering arm. I'll just avoid using. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I do.
Yeah, or cover it with something.
You know what was the most filthy thing on that Valiant was the K-frame, and that's where most of it went. And then upper parts of where stuff had flung off the belts, you know, on the sides of the inner fenders and stuff. And the power steering gear. I mean, we hosed that thing down. I guess it's okay, but we that power steering gear was, if it leaked, you'd never know it because it was just so full of gunk, just caked on stuff.
Blue Grit Garage, welcome to the stream. Working on replacing wheel studs to patch past tech. I think that's
That's what One-Eyed Cat was doing.
Yeah,
he was just in here an hour ago. He was doing
the English family is doing the same thing, and a lawn tractor battery in a Mustang saved almost 30 pounds. Nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
Okay, I missed some stuff back up there. Alpha and beta testers always survive. Those dudes in elevators would look jealously at me, sweating profusely, and probably think, yeah, or they just wanted you to go away because you were rocking the boat. That's the problem with management that took a long time to get there. They don't want the boat rocked at all. Just yeah, those people don't like me. But I was lucky. I had a couple of supervisors over the years that liked results more than not rocking the boat. Getting the 4 evil eyes from both dogs. Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Dogs are, I know how dogs are. Their eyeballs go up like this, and they look like they're looking away, but they're looking at you.
Robert Owen is here. Welcome to the stream.
How you doing? Let's see. These were the young managers being asked to get creative about something. Oh yeah, and they didn't know how to be creative, maybe. The subject itself wasn't mentioned, just whatever that word is about the management slogans. What is that, Kim? I'm not sure what that word is. We blame lithium too much, Blue Grit Garage. You know, for years I used lithium grease, and I don't think you could set that stuff on fire. Maybe you could.
I think sometimes too, it's how rapidly you try and discharge a battery or how rapidly you try and charge it. You start expecting more and more and more from a battery, and then suddenly it fails.
How about a Mustang engine, a lawn tractor? Hey, I knew a guy that did that. He was a cop. I even got him the engine. But it was a Mustang 2, and it had a 2300 Ford in it, and he built this contraption big wide thing he mowed with, but it had that Mustang engine in it, which was really a Pinto engine. I was just a bike messenger bringing paper somewhere. Yeah, I've had jobs like that. Not on a bike though, but yeah. Oh, I did a paper route for 3 years on a bicycle, or I walked, or I ran. It's the first time I ever heard too much. Also, lithium was blamed for Castle Bravo's 10 megaton pre-ignition problem and resulting huge nuclear fallout. And those small block Fords aren't the cheapest mills. Well, my old neighbor's old man had been a messenger in Frisco. Is that San Francisco? Man, San Francisco, like every road is on a hill like 45 degrees guaranteed. I'm not really, but there's a lot of them. I've been on those cable cars, and that's scary to me because when you figure out how they work, it's like, what am I doing on this contraption? But they don't seem to have accidents. Pre-existent. Tia Sparks always got blamed for everything when she dropped her. What is this? Hey, come on, Dean, don't let me read this.
Robert Owen is melting from working on putting the cylinder head and reinstalling parts on his D150.
That's
Is it coming together? Are you finding everything you need? I hope it's going good.
Boy, it's out on the lawn. The 2.3s are no joke. I've had a lot of broken 2.3s. What I've had happen with 2.3s is they keep running and running, but they have a knock in them, and knock, 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 knock. And I always thought it was a rod bearing when the first time it happened. And I drove that engine for a long time with a rod knock. But when I pulled it apart, one of the piston skirts had broken right at the oil ring, and that whole skirt had dropped down. It was in the pan. So the piston was knock, 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 rocking back and forth like that. And then later I had a couple more 2.3s with the same sound, same noise. I took them apart, and sometimes all the others, it was broken, but it hadn't dropped in the pan. But that skirt was just hanging there, just not holding the piston anymore, not holding it from rocking in the cylinder. But mine were all the old early ones before they turboed them. So maybe the turbo ones, I'm sure Ford knew about that probably. Maybe the turbo ones had uh, forged pistons or something, or maybe they did something to it. Because what I heard was the 2.3 turbo engines were really good engines. Called underneath and realized much different info on installing oil pan. Rubber gasket laid over the cork over the rubber, all that stuff. RTV under everything installed on the block or pan. You know about all this, I'm sure. You put the pan on the slant. You're not paying attention.
I did put the pan on the slant, and you put the
okay
rubbers on
we
first.
did
Then you tack the cork on.
Yeah, we did. Okay, you did all that. I think I fixed the pan because it had cracks, and remember that we did a video on brazing that thing up, and then I think you installed it.
Wait, that's not true because the rubbers on the front there's little
tabby things.
Tabbies that go into the timing cover. So, sorry, I don't even remember anymore. We did it on a stand, not in the car, so it's kind of different.
She's running out of energy. We came in here a little before, like 10 minutes early, and she's been just working, cleaning up while I've been sitting here talking.
Trying to get ready to get on to the next project because the Dart is done. If you guys missed it, we got the Dart out of the garage today. We took it to a car show, got it some air. It's running pretty good. There's some little things we'd like to tweak, but I think it's ready to drive.
So you got most of it, trying to find the right way to do the oil pan. Dan's asking piston skirts. Yeah, they broke piston skirts. I had several early 2.3, Pinto type engines before they turboed them. And the ones I had were in, I guess I had one in a Pinto, and the others were in Fairmonts. And they just have a knock, and then, yeah, the piston skirt's broken off. One would be broken off. And I always thought it was a rod knock at first until I took one apart. Found the piston skirt down in the oil pan. Dean, what are you... Was God your vet? What is he saying? Okay, dude. Was the D50 that Mexican spec 3-door Ford cross between an F-150 and Excursion? It's something, there's a company in Mexico that takes those F-150s and they make, what did they call that thing?
Carry-all.
A carry-all. And it's a Mexican-only vehicle. And I guess there's quite a few of them down there. And he's had them for sale numerous times. And I guess he's looking for more of them.
Yeah, people like them.
Oh, I think it's great. And he had that one that was an 82. Well, that has to be one of my favorite Ford pickups. They downsized them. Maybe an 81. It was an 81 I used to drive around, same body style. F-150. Kind of light duty feeling pickup. I kind of like the smaller pickups, but now the pickups are all massive, So I really liked that pickup. And then he had one that was a carry-all. I thought, man, that's perfect. Perfect size one of those. I think they were B1000 or something with a B. Blue grit. Yeah, I don't know. They may have a name like that on them. I don't know. D150 is a Dodge. Oh, yeah, it wasn't a D150. It was an F150. I don't know. They might have. I don't know. In Mexico, they have names that we don't use here. Or sometimes they have names we use here, but there's something else there. Like, they had Ramblers way up into the 80s? And they were, like, here, they were Hornets. Or Gremlins or something. Down there, they were still Ramblers. If I want to add lightness. Yeah, let's pour some lightness in. Thought of Bacon Hill was a slug, so imagine the higher areas of San Francisco. That's where most offices are. Yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time in San Francisco, but enough to know I don't like those hills a whole lot. Ford never fixed that until after 79. Okay, so you know about the problem. The turbos did have TRW forged pistons from 1979 on. And there's why. Because I had a 79 Fairmont. Then when I got it, it was already knocking. It didn't have a lot of miles on it. And that was the one that had the skirt down in the oil pan. But it was not a turbo. It was just a 4-cylinder Fairmont. I put a 302 in it. Started breaking rear end parts. Because that's what happens. Dan says, when I was in San Francisco as a kid, I was in San Francisco as a kid. I've never been to Boston. There are hills there once you get away from the ocean. Are there? See, I've been to Boston, but not really into the city, just kind of wherever the interstates take you around there. But this isn't a slant, but it's good for reference. And Harry, you're right on top of that. That's good. Thank you. Actually, mostly not so flat, except where they added land with fill, which is a lot of it, since they started doing that in the 1750s. Dean says Ford Dearborn dropped the pin size from 945 to 912 and downgraded the connecting rod specification on the Lima single overhead cam compared to the EAO 2-liter. Oh, okay, because I remember Pintos with the 2 liters, but I never had one. Every one of mine had the 2.3, but I sure worked on a lot of them. I remember the first Pintos had the 1.6 pushrod engine and the 2 liters. And then they came out with the 2.3, which everything I had the 2.3. Man, you know a lot about this stuff. So I broke pistons. I don't know if I broke them. I had them, and they were broken pistons. Hills suck. Yeah, ask somebody who's from Pittsburgh. Hills. She grew up in the hills. Hills of a city.
It was all hills.
302 is the best fix. You know, the thing about Fairmonts is the 4-cylinder Pinto engine and the 302 had the same crossmember. The inline 6 had a different crossmember. It became a really difficult swap. But I used to look for the 4-cylinders because nobody wanted them. And then the 302 would go right in. And I had 2 of those. I had a Futura, little Futura coupe. That was one that had a broken piston. And then I had a wagon, same thing. And the wagon ended up with a 302 in it. And then I had a wagon that had a 302 right from the beginning. And it didn't go as good. It was Venturo, what do they call it thing? Variable Venturi 2-barrel. That I just left it like that. It was okay. It was reliable, just not fast. That's when I saw the Ford B150 carryall this morning. So maybe they do call it a B150. Oh, not a D150, a B150 this morning. Yeah, he has those things around. And he knows all about getting them into the U.S. and the whole process and all that. And he's dual citizenship, so he's spent most of his life in the U.S. and recently, like the last 15 years or something in Mexico. So he's really good at that stuff, knowing everything about those cars. I didn't even ride fixie. Just removed front derailleur so I could start climbing an upshift with my knee. VAM cars, VAM or VOM, I'm not sure. In Mexico, they probably pronounce it VOM. Or maybe they just say VAM cars were great, especially the 281 inline 4.6 instead of the 256 4.2 liter. That's a 4.6. See, I don't know about, because up here in the U.S. they had all the 232. Yeah, 232 and 258s. I had 258s. But why are you bringing Scotch Weld over here? That's really good stuff. What's in those?
Contact adhesives.
Oh, okay. And this is that those two small cans are Scotch Weld.
Part A and Part B.
That's some really good. That particular Scotch Weld covers a lot of products,
Yeah.
but that particular one, doesn't harden real crispy like. It's slightly resilient, which is really good if you're bonding two different materials that don't expand and contract at the same rate with heat, so it doesn't break. I really like that stuff. That is the same stuff they used on the foam on the shuttle after they fixed the foam issues. Oh yeah, at least the hills are most commonly not where the businesses are in Pittsburgh. And the first time I went to Pittsburgh,
It's a lie.
I went up that, she says that's a lie. We went up that stupid train that goes up a hillside.
The incline.
The incline. I didn't want to go back down it. I was going to walk around, but I got peer pressured into riding back down. Oh, the 255. Yes, Robert, you may want to get the pressurized can of RTD. Saves a lot of effort, especially if you're working from the bottom side. It's a little pricey, but it will last you a few projects. Okay, did I miss any? I was looking away at adhesive and lost my place. The 255, you had deeper 302. What was that thing? It was had the same bore as what, a 260 or something? I don't remember. Or 221. I don't know. Maybe it was its own bore. Been in Paradise, but I never lost 30 horses. Mustangs were the same way. Sixes used a different. Yeah, six. Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was Fox body. Yeah, if you buy an inline six Fox body, just plan on having a nice inline six. I got to put the axles back in the Mustang. Catch up with you later. Okay, Blue Grid. Thanks for stopping in. Take care. Tommy Hanlon's here. 6:04 Sunday morning in Ireland. We've got the whole world here again. Ireland, people from down under, people from Europe. Pretty cool. Kent 1.6 overhead valve was like the Formula Atlantic and 1980 Ford Fiesta. See, I don't know anything about those engines. Man, that first Ford Fiesta, the little one that looked like kind of like a little smaller than a rabbit. The first time I drove one of those, I was so impressed with it. It wasn't like super fast, but it was quick. You could go through the gears and get up speed real quick, and it handled great. It's like that was one of the most fun cars I drove back then. And I think that must have been about 1980. That was that era, I think. Yeah, I was working in a wheel alignment shop in 80. I went back to work in a wheel alignment shop in 83 for like a year. And I remember driving several of those little Ford Fiestas that were probably about that era. And I remember how much I liked them, but I never had one. I rode the incline in 1975 or so with my grandma. Did she look out the window and scare the crap out of herself? When I looked down those tracks, I went, oh, I don't even want to see this. Yeah, as Dan did that. Probably something to use outside the downtown district. Those trams, yeah. Yeah, there's a cable pulling them up. Hope the cable don't break. All right, Dublin. Now I have to listen to some Luke Kelly. Cincinnati had 5 inclines. Really? I've never spent any time in Cincinnati. Cincinnati to me is just like I learned my way on the interstates, weave my way through it, head into Kentucky, which is toward here, you know. So I don't know why I never stopped and hung around there. Just didn't. 200, 250, 2.3 HSC, 2.5 HSO, had 3.6 H and 3.68 inch pistons, just like the 255. Okay, that was a different bore. See, the 260 Fords, which are like the 289 302, they had 3.8 inch bore, and the 221 had 3.5. Because the original small block Fords were 221s, 260, and then pretty quickly the 289 with the 4-inch bore. But they had 2.87-inch strokes. And then the 302 came out with a 3-inch stroke, and man, that was the engine. That 4-inch bore, 3-inch stroke, that was great. Then the Windsor came around, they'd raise the deck height up 3.5-inch stroke. All those engines were wonderful. Really liked them. Good choice, Harry. I'm just up the road from where Luke Kelly lived. 10-minute walk. Wow. The Escort took over the Gap. The 80 and 81 Mercury. Lincoln sold Fiesta. So Mercury and Lincoln sold Fiestas down there? See, in the Escort, the first Escort, see, the British Escort I kind of liked. I liked the looks of them, but I never got to try one. Then the American Escort came out. What a disappointment that piece of crap was. I think they tried to make it attractive to people that liked, that's when they're downsizing everything. I think they tried to make it attractive to Americans that like big, squishy, big cars. Because the first American Escort I drove, the thing was so boaty and so, it was a little car that handled terrible and squishy, and it's like, wow, what a disappointment that was. And after just getting out of a Fiesta, the Fiesta was just tight, quick, and nice. I don't know why they probably trying to sell it to Americans. Tommy Hanlon and John Sheehan, the Dubliners fiddle player, lives in Marino, 5 minutes away. See, West Germany had excess capacity, so the U.S. got the 1600 Fiesta. But that changed because Cologne was rushed off its feet with V6 engines. Oh man, we've got those engines here. And Fiesta XR2s with the 1.6. See, I'm not even sure what a Fiesta XR2 is. See, we didn't always get what they got in England, in Europe, I should say, and what you got in Australia and New Zealand. In fact, Australia and New Zealand may have even gotten things that were different, but I think most everything there was similar between New Zealand and, as Tabo calls it, the West Island, which of course is not an island. Dean, do you ever travel around that area of the world, like other than New Zealand and maybe Australia? Oh, Tabo's still here. One more complete. Yeah, Tabo out there on the West Island. Running sweet. Now to start on the next one. Oh, so you're doing like a mower production line. So I was going to ask Dean Stevens, he's traveled around much, and same with you, Tabo. Have either of you been to New Guinea? Have either of you been to, anywhere in New Guinea? Tabo says it's an island, a big one. It's a continent, a small one. I used to think Greenland should have been a continent. I mean, if Australia's a continent, Greenland should be a continent. I like an Escort XR3, but a Fiesta. And I'm not. So what's an XR3? Is that the one that had the grill that was like pinched down in the middle? Had like the square openings or rectangular openings with the round headlights? I like the looks of those Escorts. Those were the ones before Escorts ever came here. My name, it is Sean Dempsey. You're singing a song while we're reminiscing. Kim, that's a muffler off something. I looked over, she's got a muffler in her hand.
I think that one came with the...
We got a good muffler. Only Tableville left. I've been to the extreme North Island, Australia. Oh yeah, I guess it is further north. You know what I like is the map of the world that's this way, with Australia, New Zealand, and everything in this hemisphere and everything else here. You know, if you were coming in on a spacecraft, never seen Earth before, how would you know which side's that's right side up? You wouldn't. You'd think it was this way instead of this way. Or you might be coming straight in on Antarctica and think it's all around like this, backwards from the flat earthers. He's had a two. Bruce says I've had a 221 V8 replacement pistons were from a 6-cylinder. Really? I don't even know what the bore is on the 6-cylinder. So a 221. I remember working on a lot of cars with 221s, 1962 and 3. What were they? Comets and Mercury Meteors, Ford Fairlanes and stuff. A lot of those running around in the early 70s here. Greenland's not so huge without the map projection distortion. You're right. Greenland looks like it's enormous until you look at it on a globe. And then it looks much smaller. It's still pretty big. I mean, I've flown over Greenland several times, and it takes a while to get across Greenland. And I went across the short direction. You know, coming from Europe, coming across right about the middle of Greenland and looking down. I went across there one time in the summer, and I was then I could pick out land areas, and I figured out, you know, then I went back on the map and looked at all the details. But most of the times I went across Greenland, it was just ice from partway across the Atlantic until all the way through Canada is just ice, because the whole northern Atlantic there was just ice. Song the real old times buff. Nope, it was European Escort with the nice grilled and butt ski back, clean dramatic lines. That's the one I think I like. You know, there were some German Fords I really like the looks of, but I don't have any experience with them. The what they call us? They look like little baby 56 Fords. The little taillights with the little, look like a 56 Ford in the back. I can't think of the name of those German Fords. Taunus. The Ford Taunuses. I knew guys that didn't like them that worked on them in Europe, but I never got to see one as a mechanic. I'd see they were imported to the U.S. There were a few of them around, but never really got to work on any of them. But I sure like the looks of them. I haven't been to the Northwest Island. Oh, that's New Guinea? I lost my childhood sweetheart when her dad was posted there. Really? See, my father served in the Navy in World War II, and he was in New Guinea for a while. So I've always had kind of an interest there. And there was a radio station I used to listen to on the internet in New Guinea, and kind of liked the music that they were playing. It was kind of a mix of pop that they have here and local stuff there. Tommy, there's two statues now. I think the head is a great likeness. That's in Sheriff Street. I grew up just across the river. Liffey and Ringsend. I don't know these names. I think I pronounced them maybe right. The Bustleback. The Bustleback. Oh, that's different than what I was thinking. Spell check is a pain. Yeah, I had one really bad spell check. Well, actually, two really bad ones. Pretentious Kiwi bar stewards try to change everything around to suit themselves. How arrogant. I've never gotten to work on a Ford inline six. I've worked on too many of them, but I like them. There's two inline sixes. There's the 240-300 that I think Danny Boyd works on, and then there's the small one, which is the 144, 170, 200, 250 that has the integral intake manifold, which is kind of weird, but I like those too. I still like them. Well, hopefully the space aliens would orbit first and figure out where most of the people are. Up or down is pretty arbitrary choice, though. Yeah. Well, most of the people are on the north end, so the weight would make it go down south, right? No, the gravity's in the middle of the. People could just spell properly. The spell check, wrong check. Wouldn't be Canadian. They're great. Just like a stove bolt, but missing another 20% of their parts. Stove bolts are not my favorite inline six, because most of them didn't even have pressure to the bearings. They had dippers, and then even the 235s, they had like weird combustion chamber, and like, I don't know. I guess they were okay. I replaced a lot of head gaskets on them, and I don't know. By the time I had them around, they had problems, and I was fixing them. Of course, there were some inline Ford sixes had that I was fixing them too. So Ford USA made the engine without an intake manifold to stop intake manifold leaks. I hadn't ever thought of it that way, but you know what? I never replaced an intake manifold gasket on one. There's you can't say can't. Canadistan? Ooh, we got Canadians in here. I shouldn't call it Canadistan. I had the misfortune working on many Ford i6s. The ones that have the intake manifold cast into the head, that style. I don't know. You have the 240 and the 240 and the 300 down under, or just the like the 170, 200, 250 style. And then there's the 144 that only had 4 main bearings, but same basic engine. Dean, that's right. It's integral or integral. I removed one. That's all I did. Moved it and set it on a pallet. The first engine I pulled out of one of those sixes was in a 1960 Falcon. And I'd pulled a lot of engines, and there's a lot of stuff, and they were all V8s. And I got that 60 Falcon, I had to pull the engine out of it. It was like, I had it out like in less than an hour, and I was not working very hard. It was really easy because I could reach everything, and there was like 2 wires and a throttle linkage and a bell housing bolts that I reached from the top. And I think I reached the starter from the top and the motor mounts from the top, and out it came. It was like really easy. Yeah, it's legal here. What's this? Oh, almost silence for Tavo Ford derangement syndrome. Integral or integral, depending on, I've heard arguments about that. I mean, really heard arguments about that. That's a big word for Saturday.
Aluminium.
Aluminium. Rotational direction defines.
Where I come from, it's aluminum.
Rotational direction defines north and south, up and down. Well, if we cannot be friends, seriously, how could you say that? How could I say what? Integral or integral? Oh, I had a friend that was integral, and I said integral one time. Man. And I didn't argue with him, but he argued with me. Chevy stove bolts hold up the southern hemisphere. Stove bolts are a weird breed. Yep, I like mine a lot, but I can admit it wasn't very practical. Here's the thing about stove bolts. When you think about them, when did they come out? 1933? I mean, that was quite an engine, you know? But they ran them all the way up into the 60s. And by then, they were a patch job. They put pressure to the mains and the rods. And did they put up the rods too? I think so. And, you know, so the 235 is a little better engine. But, you know, it was an ancient engine. It came out the year after the Ford Flathead. And Ford quit producing the Flathead, at least in the U.S., in 1953. And it was an ancient engine by then. And so Chevy kept the stove bolt around almost 10 more years, 9 more years after that. So it's really kind of an amazing engine. Dean, it's a KBW. Dean is a KBW fan. KBW. KBW?
KBW.
What's KBW?
I don't know.
Well, Tavo, a different civilization might prefer calling the other rotational direction a baseline too. I see. Well, Tavo, a different civilization might prefer. Oh, I already read that. Kevin A. Everybody can't say. Yeah, okay. There's probably a bunch of not so good words. Tavo, in Oz, we had the 144, 170, 200. Then Ford Australia played around and maybe a 188 and a 221, two different 200s and the 250. See, I like the 144 just because nobody else liked it. They didn't have a lot of power, but 1960 Falcon was just a little car that you could drive around and didn't use much gas, and that 144 is pretty cool. But how long did they? I mean, I saw them in 60 Falcons. They might have been in the 61 and 2, but man, there's so few of them. But then, you know, the 200s and 250s that bolt right in. Didn't know about the 188 and 221. Yeah, see, the 221 here was a V8. Looked like a 289. It was a 289 with a 3.5-inch bore. Aluminum superior metal to, wait a minute. Aluminium is a superior metal to aluminum. Really? Okay, you know what I'll do? I'll call it like this right here. This material right here, this is 2024 T3. I don't know how thick it is. I think we probably lost the thickness of this. Have to measure. 2024 T3, 6061 T6, 7075 T651. Then we don't have to use the alu word. God, I had a friend from Switzerland and he called it alu. Oh, he says just alu. Okay. Guess that saves a fight. I like to say aluminium so everyone can decide whether to be happy or not about it. Yeah, see, in an airplane factory or shop, you never use the word. It's always the alloy. 2024, 6061, 7075.
Aluminum.
6063. What else did we use? There were castings. Dean knows the casting numbers that 356 maybe? Because I didn't do much casting. We casted some little door handles one time, but can't say cat in Canada. Really? 60 stove bolt I had a pressurized. Yeah, they start pressurizing, I think, in 53, but I'm not sure. Because the Corvettes that had stove bolts, the first 2 years of Corvettes had stove bolts, and they had pressurized systems. So, yeah, it was probably the best of 235s, but compared to the small block or even a newer generation, yeah. Yeah, and then I remember my father had one of those, the 216, and he had a cracked block and had to have it replaced. That's quite an old story. But then I had a 230, the newer style 6, and it cracked a block. It didn't get hot, but the block cracked. It's like, that was not nice, you know? Most of us down here just call it alley. Sounds like something you do. It's like a carby. The first time I heard somebody from Australia say carby, I was like, what? Because here it's always a carburetor. And call them carbies. Then I got kind of used to it. At least you could drop a wing, intake manifold, and exhaust headers on it. And it honked. And you could put, that's one thing about the stove bolts. There was performance stuff for them. And the 4/8, would that be a half? Clay Smith Camp. Man, I had friends out in California. That's all they would run is clay. They were just Clay Smith. They're gonna buy a camp. Go to Clay Smith. That's all they do. T356 heat treated aluminum. The company that was in the airplane company. There were two companies in the building. One of them built stuff for injection molding stuff, and they had a thing called a mold sampler, and it was cast out of aluminum, had handles on it, and it was a pressure vessel, and you put wax in it, and you squeeze a trigger, and it would force wax into a mold, and and normally you'd put plastic in the molds, but they just put wax in it first for mold test. It was like a mold, they called it a mold sampler, and those things were cast out of, I think, 356. And so I remember seeing castings around, but man, I mean, in the airplane business, like I said, we had some little door handles that were cast out of that stuff, but that was all. Everything else we did was either extrusions or sheet metal or billet, and you machine it. You know, like 6061 billet or, well, Kitsy Fluff that comes in here, he worked there, and he did a lot of machining in 6061 and 2024 mostly. Billet parts. Japanese are smart enough to grow Falcon cylinder heads for Australians for plants. Man. See, I always thought about growing parts. That's like, I was thinking too far out of the box. I was thinking if you could get something, you could grow it in the shape you need, like an extrusion kind of shape, and it would have all the fibers, most of the fibers go in one direction, and you could let it dry, and then you could soak epoxy into it. You might be able to make something really strong that you grew the shape. But, I was just thinking, I wasn't doing any of this because I'm not a farmer. I was thinking like bamboo kind of structure, that if you could control it a little better, you could make like tubes or something. Oh, that's the other thing, is aluminum tubes. Okay, Jakaya Clay Smith has the coolest shop logo. Man, what is it? Kim, what's the Clay Smith logo? You're out of it. You're just sitting
We'll have
back
to
there.
look it up.
You're sitting back. Are you listening to any of this nonsense?
Oh, I'm listening to everything, but I don't have a whole lot to say. Nanotech head growth. I don't believe you, Dean. You're talking craziness. All right, so we made a decision before we started that we were going to be done at midnight. And it's now
midnight plus
12:32.
Midnight plus 32.
Made out of bananas. That sounds delicious. So you can eat your cylinder.
Well, just a second. What I was thinking with the bamboo was, bamboo has all those little knots in it. Well, if you could grow bamboo so it didn't have so many knots, cut it off so you got a tube, let it dry out, and then just let epoxy soak into it, you might have something. Okay.
Have you seen
the woodpecker logo. I know that logo. Sure. Yep.
Have you seen where they grow the bamboo? It's a spiral. They just keep turning the plant.
Isn't that a name for that?
Yeah, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, you could make a spring. Man, okay. Enough thinking weird.
All right, everyone.
She says this is enough.
Yeah,
She's gonna grab control of the mouse.
we love having you here.
Grab control
And
of the mouse.
were, even though we didn't work on a car, we were incredibly productive. We made a lot of, you can't really see, but we made a lot of space.
I see less space.
For
Because there's an engine dangling.
well,
in the
once
middle of the road.
but that engine's going. The engine's going bye-bye. Because we're not going to keep engines for vehicles that we're not going to work on. So we're clearing up space.
That looks like something you could make a compressor out of.
Listen, I could.
Imagine that, a 4-cylinder Subaru compressor. What motor are you going to run it with? Ooh,
I'm not.
Okay.
We're going to throw it away. Or maybe we'll think about it tomorrow. We'll sleep on it. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your holiday weekend. We will not be here tomorrow, but Ari will be streaming after the Tony on Sunday nights.
And we will be in Ari's
Yeah.
after. See, Tony finishes about 9 and Eric comes in sometime after that. So, yeah, we'll be there.
So if you're
hopefully
looking
some
for
other
something
people
to
will be here
do,
too.
that's a great place to hang out and chat.
Well, Dean's a wrench there, and so
Yeah.
is
So we'll see
Olive.
a lot of you there. We may take Monday off. It's a holiday.
It's even a holiday down under. It's
Yeah.
Father's Day there,
Yeah.
and here it's Labor Day. That means we have to work.
We'll decide and we'll let y'all know tomorrow night on Ari's stream, and then we'll be in the studio on Tuesday for our regular stream, and that happens earlier. It is at 7 Central Time, and we usually go for several hours. So we will see you there.
And Tavo says we're leaving already. We made a deal. She and I did that it would be 2 hours tonight. We're already at 2 hours and 40.
We were up early for the car show, and I washed the car today, and now I cleaned the shop, and I'm whooped. So, yeah, but we'll do it again soon.
No holiday for Father's Day here.
Happy Father's Day to
It's just
fathers
this
out there who are in the Down Under area. Dean Stevenson is dancing this Disco Inferno, and enjoy your cigar, Ari.
I don't know how to pronounce that cigar.
Thank you everyone for being